Yo, what is up, everybody? Welcome back. Happy Wednesday, everyone. Hope everybody's doing well out there on this somewhat chilly Wednesday evening out here in Northern California. What's up? What's up, bro? What up, Bay Area? Shout outs to my Niner gang. As you can see, rocking the Niner hat today in this live stream. Gonna keep that energy strong for my Niners. But we are 3-0. Damn, my dog's bugging right now. It's crazy. But welcome, guys. Welcome to the live streams. Welcome back. This is episode 84. Moving along here, guys. Moving along. Episode 84. And I hope you guys are doing well. If you guys are in here, big shout outs to you. Thank you for spending your time with me on this evening, this Wednesday evening, guys. And if you guys are new to the stream, I do these live streams every Wednesdays, different topics every week. And I also do take requests. This is kind of a way to engage with my audience and my fellow subscribers and YouTube community as well. So you guys, if you've never been a part of these, I pretty much open the channel for you guys to hop on with me, or if you want to be live in the comment section on this way. It's this way. The chat box is this way here, right here on my screen. But if it's on the other side, you know, you guys are more than welcome to use the chat feature as well. And I will do my best to make sure I highlight your comment. That way I don't miss anything, you know, to discuss about the topic. Or if you actually want to go live, like real time, face to face, like FaceTime me, you know what I'm saying? Take this link right here. You take this link, follow it, put your name, your username, and you could hop on. And you could also actually be real time on a video interface with me here on the live stream. So if you guys, again, no pressure. If you guys want to hop on, you guys are more than welcome to. But this episode 84, was actually inspired by a fellow friend and Jersey head of mine as well. Big shout outs again to Throwback King for presenting this idea, which really, I feel like we kind of touched it a little bit throughout the lives, but not like a whole dedicated segment, you know, to this. If you guys are reading the title of this stream, it is called From the Outside In. So what does that mean exactly? What does the outside in mean? Like, what are you referring to? Well, you guys know, if you guys don't follow my channel, you guys know I'm a huge collector. I collect a lot of things other than jerseys. I collect hats as well. That's one of the many things I collect. I collect a whole assortment of collectibles. Just grab one here, just little Master Roshi. Shout out to my guy. But I collect those. I collect jerseys. I collect sneakers. And at the end of the day, I'm a collector. So collecting has always been a part of me for as long as I can remember. And it's something where I was kind of like the only person that I really knew that collected like I did in my area, or at least, you know, in person that I knew of. Like I thought I was the only person that collected, you know, and I was wrong. And I'm kind of glad that I'm wrong, because, you know, there's a whole world out there of people that collect, maybe not like the stuff that I collect, or like to the extent that I collect, but there's a whole community out there of people that collect things, and they also showcase it like myself here on this platform. And I know that not everybody's like that. Not everybody is bred to collect like I am, or, you know, you know what I'm saying? And it's definitely, I want to get your guys' opinions on that if you guys are a collector. You know, because I think, and even if you're not, I still want to get your opinion, because I think that this will give a huge perspective of, you know, what it means, or how do people view me or us, you know, as a collector, because it's definitely something that I know not everybody's bred to be, or, you know, is. So, yeah, I want to get your guys' thoughts. And again, guys, this isn't exclusive to jerseys. This isn't exclusive to sneakers, you know, whatever it is you're into, buy toy vinyls, whatever, you know, this applies to just a collector in general. You could collect anything. You could collect anything from stamps. You can collect anything from uh, car models, airplane models, whatever it is. I know there's just so many people out there. I know Jake. I know he collects. You know, shout outs to Jake, who's a regular on these segments. But I know he collects cars as well. You know, like model cars or Hot Wheels, if I'm not mistaken. And I would really like to know more about that. If he's in here, Jake, if you're in here, man, I would love to hear your process on that. And even with the whole jersey thing, because I know you're a big jersey collector like myself. But I want to know your guys' thoughts and your overall like opinion on how you think people view you, because I know it's kind of hard to think outside of that box if you're a collector. You know, from the outside in, it's different when somebody else has a different, I guess, interpretation or a different you know, a different way of collecting, or not even just not being a collector, but a person who doesn't collect viewing somebody like me or you if you're a collector. So I want to know. In the meantime, I'll share my story, and hopefully, you know, you guys can provide some insight on this as well. But you know, for me, like I said, I have been a collector for a very long time, as long as I can remember. You know, I've always had a knack for collecting things. One of the earliest things that I remember I was collecting as a kid were marbles. And, you know, marbles were one of those things during my generation, you know, being in the 90s and stuff like that, that a lot of us played with. And also Pogs. Pogs as well. If you guys are too young to know what that is, I highly recommend looking it up. But basically, it was a game where they were like these like circles. I don't even know what they're like made. They were like made of like paper, right? Or, you know, cardboard or whatever. And they would have these hard metal circles, you know, like almost like a coin, and probably about the size of like this right here, you know, and you would slam them with what you call a slammer. And I don't remember the rules all too much, but basically, if the pogs like flipped over or whatever, you keep those. And I'm probably explaining this horribly right now. I do apologize, guys, but that was kind of the gist of you know, pogs and collecting pogs. You know, and marbles. You know, again, there were different sizes of marbles. You have the big ones, and then you have the small ones. And you know, just you got to like hit the marbles. You know, when you were playing on the concrete. And I remember like every kid used to play marbles and pogs during my time, man, during my childhood. So that was something that I collected a lot of. And you know, and then I started getting into toys, you know, action figures, a lot of different things. You know, my parents used to buy me a lot of toys. You know, like the earliest thing I can remember, and I actually showed this off last live in episode 83. But one of the earliest toys that I had in my collection was this T-Rex right here, guys. This is not the same one. Well, this is the same one that I had back then when I was a kid, and I recently just reacquired this maybe about a month or two ago at a vintage shop in my local area, man. And I saw this dinosaur at the shop, and I remember when I just grabbed it from the shelf and I kind of held it in my hands and looked at it, I just got all these different emotions that kind of came just surging through my entire body. Like I couldn't explain it. It was like one of these weird, like psychological feelings when I grabbed this dinosaur from the shelf and I held it in my hands. I remember my wife was kind of looking at me like, okay, like what's the significance of this? Well, this dinosaur, like I said, was one of the earliest toys that I can remember in my collection, in my toy box, when my mom used to buy me toys when I was a kid. And I remember whenever we would go to a store, she would always let me pick one item. And, you know, we went to the store a lot. So do the math. There was a lot of items that were piled up in my toy box, but I had so many different things just because I collected a lot of different things. Dinosaurs, you know, this is I had some other dinosaur toys as well, but like this is the one that's very memorable in my, you know, my life. And you know, this was made in 1985, so it's just one of those generic toy dinosaurs, you know, but it looks the same as how I remember it when I was a kid. So, you know, that kind of led to me getting this. And fast forward to basically being a collector of like jerseys, you know what I mean? Like as I got older, you know, I started outgrowing stuff, started getting into other things. Jerseys was something I got into when I was transitioning from middle school to high school. And that's kind of when I started getting into the jersey game. And that was roughly around 2000, 2001, roughly between 2000 and 2001 is when I started getting into jerseys. And so it was one of those things that kind of just blossomed into a bigger community, you know, because I started meeting people on here, you know, like Snacks, Mighty Mouse Fan, Nostalgia Boy, Rivalry Sportswear, Big John 75. Shout outs to you, homie, for being in here. You know, so yeah, it was definitely it grew into this bigger community. And if you guys are a part of Kings of Throwbacks on Facebook, you know, you guys definitely know what I'm talking about. If you're a Jersey head, you know, it's just it's amazing. It's amazing to be a part of such a large community, but also realizing how really small our community is when you put it in that global perspective. Because again, I feel like we're like the Jersey head of our own community. You know what I'm saying? Like we're all from different parts of the world, and for us to be able to link up and share a common interest with jerseys is a beautiful thing. But at the same time, not everybody is a jersey head. You know what I'm saying? So not everybody's going to understand why we collect what we do, or why we just collect in general. You know, a lot of interpretations can get misinterpreted. I know a lot of people would deem it as being a hoarder, somebody having some mental or psychological issues with this. And I mean, that may be, you know, I'm definitely not denying that, but you know, I think with everything um, comes discipline. You know, being able to control and I just lost my train of thought. Sorry, guys, but being able to, you know, understand what you are, who you are as a person, staying true to yourself. These are all things that I had to really try and convince myself, and I still find myself doing that from time to time. Let me highlight some comments real quick. Sorry guys, I going off on this little tangent here, and I'm missing your guys' comments. But Matthew DeLuca says, when are we going to get the Closet of Thugonomics video? I definitely am brainstorming ideas with this right now. I kind of have an idea of what I want to do, but I don't. It's a little tricky just because of the whole monetized process of my channel, and copyright. Like I just want to make sure that I'm clear in that sense, or I really truly understand what that is until I start doing it. You know what I'm saying? But it's in progress, my friend. So stay tuned for that. Big John says, when I was little, I collected Hot Wheels, trading cards, Power Rangers, wrestling, NBA, and NFL. Mostly everything I've collected. Action figures, wrestling, Star Wars. I love it. Yeah, that's great. GTC says, yo, what up, homie? Hope all is well, bro. Now jerseys when I was in high school. Sam, what's good? GTC, I'm not a jersey head. I dabble and get what I like, but appreciate the hobby. Yeah, no. So, and again, this topic tonight is not just regarding jerseys. This is just being a collector you know, in general. And I think that it's one of those things that is important for us to really understand and get a feel and being able to identify yourself. You know what I'm saying? Because it's very important that we understand ourselves from, you know, that side of the coin. So I have some guests in the queue. I'm gonna let hop on, and we can try and break this down. So
Rez, what's up, buddy? Long time no
what
see.
up? Long time no talk, Big John. How have you been, brother? How you been?
Man, I'm doing good. I've been watching your lives, man. I've been working night shifts, so they
Ooh,
finally moved me to day shift. So I got a
okay.
job as a security guard 3 weeks ago. So that's why I haven't been seeing that much. But hey, I've been supporting, man. You know, and I've been liking the videos, man. Keep up the good work, my brother.
I
And
appreciate that, man. No,
I'm
I
just
really do, man. And I just gotta say, you know, not to really like, not trying to put your business out there, but you know, congrats on getting and graduating, man. That, you know,
thank you, brother.
that's an amazing accomplishment. Not everybody can do, and you know, you worked hard. I'm sure. You know, your pictures turned out great.
Thank you,
Um,
man.
and yeah, man, congrats, bro.
And I know since the last time you saw me, I got a full grown beard. I know Bay Area is going to love it. Shout out to him. It was the homie's birthday. Bay Area, I hope you acknowledged Eli's Ivers, man. He's the primetime chief.
Right on, man. Yeah, I'm actually trying to grow a beard myself. I haven't shaved. I mean, I've trimmed it, but I haven't like really full on grown it yet. So I got like no shave November mentality right now. So,
Yeah, and I'll tell you, my weight loss has been going good. Like this jersey is super loose on me. Last
oh,
time I
looks
wore
good.
it was snug, bro. But now, I mean, it fits good.
Yeah, it looks good on you, bro. Shout out,
So
and it's an Urlacher jersey, so it's a win-win for you.
oh yeah, I'm hoping one of these days. Me and Luca was talking about. He was at the Nationals. I was thinking about coming to the Nationals, and then Rodman came up, and that was a whole experience.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw you meeting the Worm, man. How was that?
I'm gonna tell you straight up, bro. He was 45 minutes late. Like his
Oh,
agent,
dang.
the poor guy was freaking out. And as I was headed towards the line, one of the guys that was in the Sting line told me that Rodman's in a bad mood and
Ooh.
that, typical Rodman. So I went up there, and when I met him, I told Rodman, I said, "You're my all-time favorite basketball player. I drove 9 hours to meet you," and he just said, "Oh." And then I asked to two sweet him. I told him, I said, NWO, and he two sweeted me. After he two sweeted me, he bashed every fan there. He bashed wrestling fans and basketball fans.
What?
I
Seriously?
promise you, Dennis Rodman did that, and his girlfriend was shaking her head. I remember she was like this, and everybody in the pictures, like I even have the pictures. And from that on, like, I Dennis Rodman was my all-time favorite basketball player. After
Wow.
he did that, and you know what really made me mad? Later on that day, if you go on the Bulls Instagram page, you can even see the video. But he started getting emotional, talking about how much he loves the fans. Well, Dennis, if you love the fans so much, then how come you was bashing us, dude? I drove 9 hours. There were people that flew. There were people that drove to meet Dennis Rodman. It's not like I went up to him on the street and asked for a free picture. I paid, I want to say it was $150 for a picture just to be treated like crap. And I remember when he was telling me about Scottie Pippen, and he was talked about too. Now there was a guy in line that was telling me a story about Scottie. Like this guy was handicapped, and he told me he met Scottie with his grandpa, and Scottie signed a bunch of stuff for his grandpa. And then when he went back in line to get his stuff signed, Scottie told him to get out. I mean, was
Yeah.
rude to the guy, and I was like, man, like I told him about you, man. I said it's wild, but at least Scotty was nice to you when he, like, hey, oh, thank you for being a fan. I would love to have gotten that. And as a
Dang.
basketball player, I'm still a Rodman fan, but having met the guy, it's just not. Even when I wear his jerseys, it doesn't feel the same.
You know
And
what? No, go ahead.
Like, I'll show you the pictures, bro. Like, I only posted the 2 sweet ones. I'm gonna show them to you, man, and you'll see Rodman's face, bro. Like, it broke my heart, man.
Bro, that's
Rodman,
crazy.
you guys know how much I was a Dennis Rodman fan. I did tell him at the end when I was getting out of line. I said, Dennis, you were my all-time favorite basketball player. That's when he started smiling. I said, you were, a keyword being were. But I'm gonna show you the pictures. Look at Rodman's face.
Hold up. Let me highlight your screen real quick.
Look at his face.
He does not look at it.
He's like, it's like when Rez met Pip.
Look, every picture, bro. I was the only one that got a good picture of Rodman. Look at that.
Wow. Wait, so I'm trying to understand though, like why was he not in a good mood, or why was he bashing wrestling and basketball fans? That's what I'm trying to understand. Was something like personal?
I don't know, bro, because he got on AEW TV and he was doing Too Sweet, and then he got on the Bulls Live with Jeff Jarrett, and he said, "Oh, I love the wrestling fan." You know, this is the picture you saw, but
yeah,
I don't know why he was in bad mood. Again, this is Dennis Rodman we're talking about. You know, bad as he wants to be, you never know what he's gonna do. Yeah. But after that, like,
it's interesting, and you know, I just want to talk about this real quick, guys, because I know this is not really pertaining to the topic tonight, but I just want to highlight that because I actually did a live a while back about, you know, meeting my experience when I met Scottie Pippen. And Scottie Pippen was nice to me. You know, keep in mind, I was one of the earliest people that got there. I was probably like number 2 or 3 in line. I got there in literally an hour, like about an hour and a half before his scheduled signing. And I just wanted to make sure, because I was like, man, this is going to be a crazy line. Scottie freaking Pippen, you know what I'm saying? So I got there early. He showed up, super chill. By the way, I don't think he understands California at all, because this dude came in like straight up in the mid of summer in a leather jacket. Wearing like pants, like full on like white pant, like denim jeans, and dude was like, it was hot. Like it had to have been like at least high 80s, like low 90s at the minimum. And I remember the person that was handling, you know, the event was like, look, Scottie Pippen is only signing bottles because he was promoting his whiskey. He was like, he's not going to sign anything else. And you get one picture when you basically, you know, purchase the bottle. And so I was like, okay, well, I just wanted the picture. I didn't really care. I'm not really much of a whiskey drinker, but I was like, I don't really want the whiskey. I just want a picture with him. You know, I come in there with my Scottie Pippen Authentic Mitchell & Ness, and I met him, shook his hand, took a picture with him. You know, check it out. It's on my Instagram. And so I did a video on it as well. And then there was a lady that was a big fan. It seemed like of him as well. And she basically like greeted him the same thing. He was super cool about it. Then she starts bringing out like all this other stuff. And she's like trying to find this one of the books that, you know, Pippen wrote. And I could tell looking at Pippen, he did not look happy. He was getting really irritated about it. And he straight up like blew a gasket on this chick. He was like, hey, what are you doing? Like, come on, what are we doing here? And she was like, I'm trying. He's like, no, you gotta go. You gotta get out of here. Like, kicking her out. And so I had left shortly after. I was like, okay, this is about an hour, a little over an hour drive for me. It's midweek during traffic. I was like, I want to go home. And later that night, I was reading comments about Pippen, and he had left that signing shortly after that lady, you know, after he kicked her out of the line or whatever. And there were so many people behind me in that line. And he was I think he was supposed to be signing for about an hour and a half or 2 hours. I can't remember. But bottom line is he left like 15 minutes into his signing. and everybody else that was waiting for him that drove across wherever they came from weren't able to meet him, and he didn't sign anything else. So
I gotta tell you a couple. I gotta tell you a couple other things. The people that was working with Rodman. Think about how big his line was. As you can imagine, it didn't take Rodman but 30 minutes. Like I said, quick picture. I was one of the few. I got lucky. Like I said, I told him. I said, dude, I drove 9 hours, and I told him. I said, it's always been a dream. And I've said so many times on your lives. I said, if I meet Rodman, especially since it was a wrestling convention, I would too sweet him. Otherwise, if I would have met him at a sports convention, then I would, like I said, I would just took a picture, whatever. We could have done a peace sign, whatever. It was a wrestling convention. And, of course, I had on his 98 Bulls jersey, the true custom jersey, which, by the way, a lot of people love my jersey. I got so many compliments. Sure. Even the handler was like, hey, do you want Dennis to sign this jersey? I said, nah, bro. I'm a collector. I'll be wearing my jerseys. But
nice.
I'll tell you what I remember. After I got out of Sting's line, I still remember this. One of the handlers was talking about Rodman and was talking about how he got out of there, took them pictures like go, and he got out of there and dipped. Honestly, and they were talking about this. They didn't know if Dennis was going to show up, and I felt bad for his agent. I saw him freaking out. I felt bad for the guy, and then when Rodman showed up, and I couldn't believe it when I saw him because I heard nothing but good things about him. I heard he was one of the nicest, coolest guys. I meet the guy, and I was like, oh man, I paid all this money, worked hard, but listen. At least I know now it was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. I'm just grateful I got to too sweet him because I know a lot of other people didn't get good pictures. So I've gotten to the point. I'm just grateful. And listen, he was the first NBA player I've ever met. I even told him that. I said, dude, you're the first NBA player I've ever met.
Yeah. No, that's good, man. I mean, at least he treated you, you know what I'm saying, with respect. Because if it like Pippen, like I could only vouch for my story, but from what I saw, it's interesting that we're talking about this. It's like from the outside in, get it? Like,
oh yeah,
what I saw, I saw people like I saw Pippen being a jerk, a flat out jerk towards these fans. But again, he didn't treat me that way. You know what I'm saying? Like he actually was cool, shook my hand, took the picture and everything like that. But then again, I wasn't like trying to, get another free autograph or whatever the case may be. And I was like, the interaction I had with him was like less than a minute.
Yeah.
45 seconds at most. I felt like, literally shook his hand, posed for the camera, shook his hand again, and off I went. You know what I mean? And that was it. Like, but some people, they start getting into their feelings and they start talking, about things and other things like that, and they're just like, dude, like you gotta like get the F out of here, like so that's crazy.
Yeah, but I'll tell you one of the highlights though. At least I finally got to meet my first Jersey head in person. I got the epic meetup with Luca. He met me at the hotel I was staying at. And bro, when I saw him, I didn't realize how tall he was, man. I was like, wow.
Bro, he's tall.
When I saw him, he was tall, and I was like, whoa.
If you look at that photo that we all took at the Hall of Fame, I'm standing next to Luca. And keep in mind, I'm 5'9", and he's like towering me. You know what I mean? So he's got to be at least like 5'11", 6'1", at on a good day, probably like 6 foot tall.
We chopped it up for an hour, and we talked about Bears football. We talked about everything. He told me about when you guys all met up, and I told him, I said, man, I'd love to meet these guys. I've been planning on going to Philadelphia soon. I love to hang out with Mighty and have the big meetup. Hey, thank you, Barry, man. I gave you a birthday shout out earlier, man. But remember, you gotta acknowledge the primetime chief, Eli. He's the man. Already know. But but yeah, man. Luca, real cool dude. I'm just so happy to finally meet him. He was the first person I told when I was going to Chicago, I said, Luca, I'm coming. There was a couple other people I told, but I told Luca, I said, man, I'm coming to Chicago. I was like, if you're not busy, I'd love to meet up. And sure enough, he made it happen. And I'm happy. He's, like I said, he's one of my favorite people in this community. And I can't wait to meet you guys someday.
Mm-hmm. Oh, no, definitely. I mean, it's definitely on the pipelines. I mean, Mighty, I was fortunate to meet you in that trip, so I definitely got to meet a lot of you guys, but there's also a lot of you guys I still haven't met, like you, Big John, in person. But yeah, that's definitely going to happen at some point.
Yeah. And I forgot to tell y'all another thing. Before Luca came up at the hotel I was staying at, there was a Philly fan that was staying up there, and he saw me wearing my Walter Payton shirt. And to say this guy got excited, he said, man, Walter Payton, class act, one of all time. Like, we spent a whole hour talking about Walter Payton, the Bear, the 85 Bears, the Philadelphia Eagle. I mean, he was telling me about Philly, man. And I told him about Mighty Fan and them. I said, man, I got some friends in Philly. But he's like, man, when he come up there, he was telling me about it, man. I said,
he brought up the Fog Bowl, didn't he?
Yep. I swear.
Did he bring it? Did he bring up the double doink?
Yes, he brought that up and the Fog Bowl. That was one of the first things he brought up.
Double doink, yeah.
Oh man.
See, and you guys didn't do anything wrong, but this is why I'm so fearful about if one of my favorite athletes was supposed to be somewhere, and I'm not an autograph guy, it's just not really what I do, but I would just be so fearful because everyone has a bad day. And I'm not saying it makes it right what Dennis Rodman or Scottie Pippen did or Pip, but you know what? For me, it's always about the experiences. And let's say I go and I see, I don't know, Michael Jordan, and it's he's doing some sort of signing or whatever it is, right? Years from now, who knows, right? And I'm in this long line. And I finally get up there, and he's just very grumpy and not really, he's just having a day, and he's in a mood, and he's, and he kind of gets that kind of way, right? I mean, it would just ruin the whole experience for me. And he was my first favorite athlete. So, I mean, I love those 90s Bulls teams. So that would leave that sour taste, or if I did Ken Griffey Jr. was doing a signing and then the same kind of thing happened, it'd be like, man, this was one of my first baseball players, and if he's just having a bad day and just kind of almost like brushing you off, and it's all, for me, like I said, it's all about the experience, and that would be a very disheartening thing. And it's almost like I couldn't even watch the highlights the same way, because and I guess in a way it's like I almost want to leave them in that kind of bubble, that they're the athletes, they entertained me when I was young. This is why I got into sports. So I don't know if I'd really want to see them because just on the chance, like if Iverson, same thing. Like if there's a chance that they would be grumpy with me, they would be kind of brush aside-y, kind of, it would just leave a bad taste. And on the other side, the flip side of it, not sports related, but many years ago, I used to go every year with a buddy from work to a big local it was a traveling show, but they came to Philly every year, a traveling comic book show called Wizard World. And they had a big convention in Philadelphia is one of the stops. They had a big convention in Philly every year. It was in May or June or whatever every year. And we went every year. And they had all these different dealers there because back then I was collecting Mighty Mouse. So I was there looking for comics and, original art and whatever I can find, right? So every year I went in a Mighty Mouse shirt. Every year, different Mighty Mouse shirt. And so one year, towards the end, towards one of the last years we did it, I was there with and one of the people there was Ernie Hudson, and he's of course Winston from Ghostbusters, and amongst many other movies. And I'm like, I'm not an autograph guy. I always kind of felt bad kind of talking to somebody because I'm not, getting their autograph. I'm just saying, hey, how you doing kind of thing. And Ernie Hudson, honestly, I didn't even initiate anything. Ernie looks at me and he sees the shirt and he says, "Oh, Mighty Mouse, I remember Mighty Mouse. He was my favorite, and he just starts talking to me. And I said, "Hey, Ernie, hey, I mean, Ghostbusters is one of my all-time favorite movies, and Congo and everything, different movies that he was in." He's like, "Oh, thank you so much." It was only like maybe a minute-long conversation, but I just got that much more respect for him because he didn't have to do anything, but he kind of acknowledged me in the shirt I was wearing, and we just kind of shared a common interest in a character, But it was such a good experience. So it's like, and it was super cool that here's one of the original Ghostbusters. That's one of my all-time favorite movies. And, I had a little conversation with him, and that just made that experience that much better. Again, I wasn't looking for it. It just kind of happened. I mean, another guy that talked to me during one of those conventions, I forget his name in real life, but he's played a bad guy in many different movies. Like he was in the Mad Max movie playing a bad guy. He was in Commando with Arnold Schwarzenegger. He was the Australian.
You're talking about what's his name? Vern?
Something like, yeah.
Oh man, yeah.
And here's the thing, like you obviously that guy did a lot of movies in like the 80s.
Vernon Wells.
Right?
Vernon Wells.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, Vernon Wells.
So he's just sitting there. I didn't even know who he was. And he's at one of the booths, one of the tables, and there's not a lot of people around. And I just go walking by with and he notices the shirt. And he just, he again, just on his own, he said, "Oh, Mighty Mouse, hey, yeah," and started talking when he was a kid. He used to enjoy watching Mighty Mouse. I didn't know who he was right away. So I'm just sitting there having a little conversation with him. And then all of a sudden, I start seeing the pictures and I'm like, "Oh yeah, you were in you were in Mad Max and Commando." He's like, "Oh yeah, I used to always play a bad guy."
Got that look.
and he said he enjoyed doing it
from the outside in. And just tie it back.
Nicest guy in the world. And we were just talking there for like 5 minutes. And but that's what I mean. Those are the experiences that I'll always remember.
Yeah.
And like if I ever watch like Commando or it was just on the other day, I'm like, I remember him.
Yeah. No, that's cool, man. I mean, it's really, like I said, it's a mixed bag because you really don't know. One of the few actors that and I want to jump back in gears and go back to the topic, but I'll just say this, like one of the actors that really caught me by surprise was when I met the voice actor, one of my favorite all-time anime characters, Sean Schimmel. He currently voices Goku for Dragon Ball, and he's the American voice actor. So I met him a number of times already, but the first time I had met him was at a local convention not too far from where I stay at, and he was doing meet and greet. So first off, the convention was absolutely horrendous. Like there was a lot of miscommunication. There were things that weren't really organized, and I had just gotten so frustrated with it. And I was like, you know what? Like, I'm just going to try to make the best of a bad situation. So I had to buy a ticket to meet him. And I was like, okay, well, where can I buy this ticket? And they were like, you can go to his table. Okay, so I go in the convention, I go to his table, and he's not there. He's like, oh, he's not going to sign for a few hours. But I was like, okay, well, I want to buy a ticket to meet him. And they're like, well, you have to go to the front. I'm like, you guys are sending me here and you're telling me to go here. Like, where am I supposed to go? So then I go back to where I went, the entrance, and I explained to them, I was like, hey, I want to meet Sean. And they told me to come back here. And they're like, what? So there was already some miscommunication, but the staff was just like irritated. And so they end up selling me a ticket, and they're like, okay, you got to go here. You got to go, go to his table at this time. So I'm like, there's probably going to be a huge line for people here. So I want to get there early. So I didn't even explore the convention. I went straight back to his line, and I was probably like number 3 or 4 in line to meet him. And he finally shows up, and it didn't seem like he was in a good mood. I could just kind of tell with the way his body movement was and the way he was talking to his handler. And when I got that autograph, I was like, okay, cool. And then I wanted to get a photo, but he was like, I can't do photos right now on my table. He's like, you're going to have to do the photo op. So I'm like, really? Not even like a quick selfie or whatever? So that didn't happen. So I was like, okay, that's fine. I'll wait. He's still going to be here. So I ended up buying the photo ticket, and I remember there was a long line. I was probably waiting in line for like an hour or 2 hours. And finally, I get to the front of the line and I give them my ticket, and they're saying like, oh, this ticket is not valid. It hasn't been activated. I'm like, what do you mean it hasn't been activated? And so like the handler is like whispering or whatever, and they're like, this ticket's not working. And they're like talking amongst themselves. And Sean comes out of the curtain and he's like, what is going on? What's with the delay? And he's like, what is this guy doing? And I'm like, I'm not doing anything. I'm here to meet you. I'm trying to get a photo with you, dude. so he's like, then he turns and they say something to him. I don't remember what they said exactly, but it was something along the lines of like, he bought this ticket over here. They told him to come here. So he immediately turns his attention away from the person that was curating the line. And he goes, okay, this is how it works. Like, he's like talking to me like I'm a kid. And he's like, this is how it works. You buy a ticket, you get your ticket scanned, you come in, take the photo. And I'm just like, bro, like, relax. Like, so that already kind of just left a sour taste in my mouth.
Yeah.
But I wanted to give him the benefit of the doubt. So this was a weekend type of event. So I was like, you know what? He probably is traveling somewhere really far. He probably got here with traffic. He's probably tired. I get it. I'll try again tomorrow. So I come back the next morning, the next day. Same thing. I was like early, wanted to, really meet him, give him some, the benefit of the doubt. And he was still like, like, what are you doing? Like type of thing. And I was just like, you know what, man, that really just sounds disappointing. Because it's like one of those things where it's like, dude, I looked up to you. You were like everything to me as, you putting a voice to this character that I idolize. And for you to be like this in person just doesn't really make sense to me. Like I was trying to process it, and it was just like, it was very disappointing. And, when he signed one of my, actually I have it right here. He signed one of my collectible statues that I had, and the signature, I mean, it's not really the best signature. As a matter of fact, if you look at it, it's the S, which is like right here, doesn't even connect fully.
Oh,
it's supposed to connect.
Oh boy.
So that just kind of goes to show like what little care and time he had for like his, meeting his fans. Because I mean, like you can't, like, this circle here is not supposed to be cut off.
Yeah.
It's to be a complete circle. So he was like, on top of that, this is a very like delicate piece. When I brought it to the table, he literally grabbed it by the head.
Oh no.
And I'm just kind of like biting my nails because I'm like, dude, like, how are you gonna hold something like this and just grab it by the head?
Based off something he's known for, like, I mean, that's so disrespectful.
It just was not like. I mean, it's definitely it was a memorable experience, but for the wrong reasons.
Yeah, sure.
And I mean, like I said, this item was imported. It came straight from Japan.
Yeah.
It's not easy to come by. Like, so I really like cherish this. Yeah. And for him to kind of just like show little care to this and do what he did, it just rubbed me the wrong way. So,
and that's the kind of thing that would worry me, honestly. Like I really got into like the Baki series.
Oh, yeah,
If
yeah.
I ever got like a figure and went to a convention with the guy, you know, who voiced him or something, he did something like that. Oh, look at this guy! Look at this guy!
Out of nowhere. RKO out of
You never
nowhere.
know when Slim's gonna
Big
be
Slim
on.
out of nowhere.
That
What's up, brother?
that would ruin it for me too. I mean, yeah, absolutely. Like I said, it's always about the experiences for me. And if I go to these, like I haven't been to one of those shows in years, and I remember it had been a gap when I went last with my friend from work, and then I went to it again some years later. It just wasn't the same. Like I just got the vibe in there that like, yeah, this isn't exactly what it was. So that's the last time I went to a Wizard World show.
No, for sure. I haven't been to one in a long time either. But I enjoyed it. The Wizard Worlds were really cool. They were fun.
Yeah.
So I mean, what are we doing here? Are we doing like a battle of NFL teams, like NFC? Like,
I'm wearing
what are
my
we doing?
Philly shirt right now. So I'm not
Man, but
well, the only way that it would be fair is if Big John went and put on a Dolphins jersey.
Don't tempt him.
Man. What's up, brother? How you doing, man?
I'm good, man. How are you, bud?
I've been good, man. I've been busy, man. I've been busy working and
love that Jordan love the Jordan video that you just did.
Thank you.
The poster.
Yeah, that poster.
Thank you. It's not in the best shape, but it is an original.
Dude, but yeah, I agree with what you said. Like, you know, it gives it character. You know, that would be not something that I would be not something that I would probably, you know, would have thought to add to my collection, you know, but I thought it was that was super cool. I mean, that doesn't I know I'm old as fuck, but I don't go back that far as like in Michael. My love for Jordan probably started at around 88, 87, 88. So that even predates my old ass. So
yeah, well, I mean,
super cool though, and like you even said, oh, I wasn't even born yet. But
it was one of those things where like that's the shoe that I would essentially like bury myself in. You know, Jordan 1s are pretty much that Jumpman logo that you see. That's the poster that started that whole thing and that whole mystique behind Jordan, you know, and his sneakers and his game. And, you know, like trust me, like that poster is not easy to come by, like, let alone, you know, in a somewhat presentable condition. Like, I don't know if you saw the full video, but there was a brand new rolled poster that sold for $5,600.
Yeah, I remember you said it. Yeah,
I was like, yo, like,
and that was a new one, right?
Yeah, it was brand new, never removed from the wrap.
Oh yeah. It was. You said it wasn't a reproduction; it was an original, unopened.
Original, yeah. And I mean that sold for $5,600. So you can imagine what a somewhat, you know, excellent condition or barely used poster would have gone for. And you know, like I said, like the one that I got wasn't in the best shape, but it's probably the cheapest that I would have gotten it for, you know, considering it's it. But I also looked at it from like an age standpoint. You know, he talked about, you know, being 40 years old, like damn well near 40 years old. That poster came out in 1985. And here we are.
It'd be badass once you frame it.
Yeah, it's actually so it's funny you say that because it's actually in the shop right now to get framed. And I'm not gonna be able to pick it up for another 2 weeks. So I explained it to the framer because I went to my local Michael's, and it was a craft shop, and I spoke to the guy, and the guy was kind of like looking at me like, dude, do you realize this thing is destroyed? Like, I'm in the best shape. I was like, I understand that, but you also got to understand, like, this is a 40-year-old poster. You know what I mean? Like, this is not something that you're going to see every day in immaculate shape. So it's definitely I can't wait to get it because I think I'm gonna do a follow-up video once it's framed and just kind of.
You should have called that one part. You should have. I mean, I don't know if you were thinking that far ahead, but you should have called that video part 1 and then part 2 once it's done.
I did. You know, and Snacks actually mentioned it because he was telling me to do a process. Like he was like, you should do like a full on, like you going to the shop and actually talking to the guy. I didn't want to like hold my camera in front of this dude and be like, hey guy, like here's what I'm doing. I'm doing a video. I wanted to be as discreet as possible. So I actually, it's funny because I had my phone on record, but I had my screen down. So you could kind of make out what I was saying, but not entirely because it was kind of muffled. But I was thinking of doing that and adding that to the video. And I was kind of hesitant. I was like, should I just do this video now? Or should I wait till I have everything complete and then do it from there? But I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna do it. I want to show it as is. And eventually I want to follow up on that as well. So. Uncle Lou!
Hey,
Uncle Lou.
what's going on?
Brother? What's up,
How
man?
am I missing? I'm an hour in, man.
We kind of got sidetracked here a little bit because we just started talking about Dennis Rodman and Scottie Pippen and other things like that. But the topic initially was as a collector, and this doesn't apply to just strictly jerseys. This applies to anything really that as long as you collect something. From the outside in, how do people view your collection? Do they respect it? Do they appreciate it? Do they hate it? Do they shoot it down? Like anything positive, negative, neutral, whatever. I want to hear it, man. And I
think I gone through all the extremes when it comes to my collections. You know, like back when I lived with a roommate, most of my stuff was all in a room, like in my bedroom. I mean, I did have stuff out, like posters. I even had records hanging up in the hallway, almost like a wallpaper, like a top wallpaper. But bringing in a date for the first time into the apartment, or going in your room, like the posters were everywhere. Like I'm talking. Remember, Rez, how my attic used to look like with all the posters all over the place.
Yeah,
and it was
I remember seeing your Iron Maiden.
That's how the room looked like at one point. So bringing a date for the first time, they're kind of like their eyes are dotting everywhere, and I had two different reactions. That's how I knew if something was gonna work out or not. When I had the, oh my God, this is a child's bedroom, or wow, there's a lot of cool shit. It depended on that, and there's a lot of people that still to this day, you collect action figures, and they kind of look up here, they kind of look at you down towards you, you're essentially a big kid. And same thing with the jerseys. I still dress. I tell people I still dress like I did when I was a teenager.
Same here. Yep.
Jeans.
Same here.
So it's the same. I dressed when I was out of high school. So, it has gone to my advantage at my job. It's kind of funny.
Hey, Rez, Van Mighty, get him out of here.
By the way,
that looks awfully familiar.
Oh.
I saw it.
Go sit back in the dark with your. Let's go sit back in your dark with your flea-bitten varmint.
He's upstairs, actually.
Nah,
that's all right. I owned it for 2 years. And nobody knew. So.
Yeah, funny thing. At work, they sent us an email about DTLR Spirit Week, and they want us to do a theme per day. And I'm looking at the email going, I want all that. They want us wear your favorite Marvel or DC T-shirt. And I'm like, I want that. I think I did a collage and posted on the group chat for our store. I'm like, I wore my Arrow jacket, my green Arrow jacket one time to work. It was cold enough inside and outside that I could wear it a regular jacket. And then I had a green Arrow shirt underneath it. And then I think Tuesday's supposed to be crazy socks or twin with one of your coworkers. I have tons of crazy socks. I think Wednesday was wear DTLR's colors, red, white, and black. I'm like, CM Punk shirts, Bull shirts, Niners, you know what I mean? Black, red, and white is so common. It's easy to pull off. And then I think Throwback Thursday was wear your old school look. And it's a picture of me wearing an old school old school metallic shirt to work. and then Friday it's sports day. Wear your favorite jersey. And it's like I've done all that. So my manager now calls it, oh yeah, dress like Uncle Lou week.
I mean, like, yeah, like just, I kind of want to like go around the circle and just kind of hear everybody's thoughts on it, because it's interesting because the people that are on live tonight, man, these are, we all come from different backgrounds, we all collect differently, so it's going to be interesting to kind of hear everybody's like interpretation of you know, like how people view us outside. You know what I mean? Because I mean, we all understand each other from that collection and sports jersey and aspect of things, and even sneakers. Like Lou, I know you work at a shoe store. You know, I'm a big shoe guy too. But like for people who collect like we do, like how do people, like, I guess, how do people view it for you? Because I mean, like Slim, Mighty, you guys are like two people that have one of the biggest collections that I know with our jersey collection, and you know, like shaking his head, but I mean, you can't deny it. I mean, like people, you know, you got stuff that people would love to have. But how do people, like, how do you guys view that, or how do people view you guys?
Well, I'll go first. I mean,
Yeah.
basically, over the years, I've had like my best friend who Mighty has actually met, and he, from day one, he's the reason that I'm an Eagles fan. I met him in '88, '89. Ironically, long story short, I was at one of my other friend's house, and he walks in and he was borrowing Atari football. And yeah, I'm showing my age. He was borrowing Atari football.
I remember that game.
And giving it back, and we became friends. He had a picture of Randall Cunningham and Reggie White on his wall. Long story short, fell in love with those Kelly Greens. And then I watched him play, and I'm like, oh, hell yeah, if I'm going to get into a fucking football team, I'm going to follow the Birds. I'm going to follow the Eagles. So I've been an Eagles fan probably about 33, 34 years. And yeah, Atari football was a joke, because I remember when I finally got a chance to play it, sweep left worked every time, and you could win 99-0. And yeah, it was horrible. It was horrible.
That's like the first thing in the Super Bowl.
That sounds like the Miami Broncos game.
So
sorry, Broncos fans. Sorry, I had it.
So basically, what he likes to say all the time is, when I told him that I'm going to Mitchell & Ness, of like, oh, what shirt you going to buy today? You know, when we went to run the steps back in 2019, I was at Mighty's house, and I woke up to a text from him. He says, hey, what's the idea of running the steps and going to the shirt store without me? And I don't know why he wouldn't have gone to Mitchell & Ness. He ain't going to buy nothing. So he's always had his opinions about it. He's like, why don't you like sell your collection and buy a house? He's like, you do realize that if you sold your collection, you could probably afford to buy my house. And I said, man, that might happen one day, but until then, I'll keep my 3 rooms and my 3.5 closets full. And that's basically what it still is today. I've been moving stuff here and there. As you can see, what I gave Mighty. But yeah, I mean, there's, it just, like even Mighty said, Mighty came here and he took a few things home with him, but he had to buy a tote for the stuff that he got. But then when you go back and you look at it, and dude, there's not even a dent in my collection. I just like the stuff that I've moved already, the few things I've moved to Rez, there's no dent, and it's just, so I don't know. People don't understand it. I've had, Christ, I just recently had an ex girlfriend. I even call her a girlfriend now, probably just a friend with benefits, but she hit me up and was like, you got 3 rooms, don't you? And I'm like, yeah. She's like, oh, I need you to rent me a room. I'm like, sorry, I ain't got a room. So I just, it's just one of those things, man, where nobody, some people just accept it, kind of shake their head, and just when they realize how much you really got invested. You know, at one point I was probably at 13 to 1400 jerseys, and if
Wow.
you know, if you sell them at an average of 100 to 125 a piece, that's about $250,000. So, and you know, it just goes to shit where all my money's gone the last 20 years. And cause that's when it got pretty crazy. I started buying a bunch of fakes around 2002, 2003, didn't know what was good, what wasn't. Then all of a sudden Lake Show 2 came along and basically bought everything he had.
eBay seller, guys, for those of you who are wondering who Lake Show was.
Yeah.
You had to be there. You had to be there to know what we was talking about.
Yeah, it was crazy, you know, because I mean, you know, it's funny because when he ended up selling it, when he ended up finally selling, the night that D and Mighty and myself went to the Mitchell Ness private party, and I met Peter for the first time, and we started talking, and Peter was like, "Oh, my eBay guy, yeah, I remember him," you know, and I ended up talking to JB myself, you know, on the phone for about an hour and a half. He's the one that ran the site. He's the one that ran the page, the eBay page, and said that he had a 40,000 square foot warehouse with, you know, jerseys. I remember at the time I was like, "Oh, bro, that must have been so cool." And he goes, "Man," he goes, "Trust me." He goes, after he goes, "It didn't take long for me to just look at it as product. It wasn't even." He goes, "I didn't look at it anymore as just product that I was putting in a box and shipping it out." And so we ended up talking about 15 minutes or probably so for jerseys, and then the rest of the conversation, about an hour and 15 minutes, is just about life. So, and then he went through an ugly divorce, and I guess he said he borrowed $2 million total from two people to show Peter that he was serious about selling his product, and that's what he did. And then his wife divorced him, and then it got ugly. That's why Lake Show went under. That's why he went away. But I ended up trying to sell some of my stuff in 2007, and then as I told myself that I was going to get away from it and stay away from it, I was down to about 150 jerseys. And then I ended up going back to Lake Show, and then come to find out that's when he was liquidating and basically giving all the stuff away. And he would email people. He was emailing a list of stuff that he had left. All of his ABA jerseys were like $10 a piece.
I remember.
He was just giving them away.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, to answer your question, Rez, you know, that's just basically, you know, most people don't get it. Like, you know, I've got friends through social media that I've known for years, but haven't seen for years. And when I just post pics and stuff like that, where I used to just post everything in the groups or whatever. And then I finally was like, you know what? I'm like, this is me. Like, you know, so I started posting stuff like when I'd go to the bar or go to a game or something like that, or go to the bar to watch a game, that is. And I would genuinely like post what I was wearing to leave to go to watch a football game, or, you know, or whatever. I would like, if there was a local baseball game, I would like, obviously anybody that knows me knows I cannot stand the Ravens. So it's very rare that you ever see me wear any Raven stuff, but I have done it. You know, I love Deion, so I've got Deion's 2005 jerseys. You know, I've got a Ray Lewis. I made a Randall Cunningham in 2001, so I have Ravens jerseys. And but that jersey of the day thing, you know, it's just like I used to. Well, I mean, I still kind of do it, but I just don't go to the bar as often, you know. So, you know, but right now I'm just wearing this. I actually didn't even have nothing on, so I just was like, you know what, let me throw something on for the live. You know, nobody wants to see, you know, my hairy ass fucking cleavage. So, and and I hadn't been on in a while anyway, so I wanted to get on. But
I appreciate.
Yeah, but I mean, as far as the collecting aspect of it, you know, I'm starting to realize like I'm getting older. I'm kind of seeing someone right now, and she, in a nice way, doesn't really want to be around me when I'm wearing them. And she was just basically like, okay, well, I'll make you a deal. She's like, you wear whatever I want you to wear, or paraphrasing. you know, when you're with me, she's like, when you're with your friends and all that, you know, wear whatever you want. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm thinking to myself, I'm going to do that anyways, but okay. So, but, you know, I mean, I just, you know,
That's a red
I'm
flag.
trying to cut back. Like I thought I would never, you know, obviously it's all going to come to an end at some point for all of us. You know, but I just never thought that I would finally see where giving up a few here and there isn't going to hurt anything. Whereas I had that hoard mentality, like through COVID and probably to the end of COVID. Like I had that hoard mentality. Like I just, like I didn't want to give nothing up. Like I wanted to just, I would forget about it, you know, but then once I would go back into the whatever room I was in, football, whatever, I'd go and I would look and be like, oh man, look at that, I own that. Wow, that's, you know, and then I would have that, I would be, it would make me feel like, yeah, I'm not selling shit, and just walk out of the room. You know what I mean? And but the older I've got, I've you know, Mighty's a witness, Rez, you're a witness to, you know, to Zach, he's gotten a few from me, and you know, I just I finally hit that wall, so to speak, where it's like maybe time to live a little, you know, like just, you know, sell a few things and go do something, you know, go do something that I probably wouldn't have done before, because the collecting aspect of it is be like, oh, well, what am I going to do if I go spend this money here and then something hits eBay and then I go nuts and like, oh shit, well, I shouldn't have done that because now I can't afford this pickup. That's how I've thought, you know, whereas I've even starved myself in the past, where literally had nothing, no money in the bank at all, hungry, and buying a $56 jersey off of eBay and made sure that that was paid for first. So I'm trying to just get past all that, you know, whereas,
No,
you know, as I approach 50 years old, I just want to get, I just, you know, if I'm going to be dating someone, you know, just have a few extra bucks, and, you know, and if I really miss something that I sell, just go after it again sometime, or if it comes across my way, maybe move on it again. But so far, out of the stuff I've sold, I've been, the only problem was selling it. Once it was out of here, I was like, okay, I'm okay. And I go and I look at my racks and they don't even look like they've been touched. So,
yeah.
So you're more afraid of the process than the actual selling. Like
yeah,
but process,
so yeah, people don't, when they see it firsthand, they don't get it unless you're a Jersey head. Like, you know, I mean, I've only had 2 people upstairs that's even saw him, and, you know, Mighty's the second one. He just saw it not too long ago, and, you know, Rob has been over here, but I haven't even had him upstairs yet. And you know, Adam's been here. You know, a couple other my friends have been here, and they see it, but they just don't. You know, if they're already my Jersey head friends, they get it. But if they're my regular friends, I just kind of like just don't even talk about it, because they don't understand it. You know, especially if I'm starting to struggle in some form or fashion, and then they're just like, okay, well, you're sitting on 6 figures worth of fucking shirts. You know, why are you struggling at all?
Right.
So, but
yeah,
you know,
no, that's a great,
sorry,
you know, thank you.
Sorry, I went long-winded.
No, you're good, man. That's exactly what I was looking for, you know, is explaining the process. I mean, you took it a step further, I think, because you actually described like the psychological aspect that it has on you as a collector, but also for people who are not really into this, you know, and they kind of like, you know, like I think that's part of finding somebody, you know, or being around people who are not really a part of it. I think if they respect it, you know, I think that's good to have. But then you also have people that are straight up like straight shooters, like, dude, you have a problem. You gotta get this nipped in the bud. You need to figure this out. You know what I mean? Because trust me, I deal with that all the time, where I have these internal conversations with myself, and I'm trying to convince myself to pull the trigger on something, you know, whether it be a jersey or whatever collectible, whatever I'm eyeing. I have these conversations with myself, and there's like, you know, the angel on your shoulder and the devil on the other, when they're trying to have these conversations like, what do you could possibly do with this? Like, you're probably only going to wear it once in a blue moon, and then it's just going to be tucked away for years. Then you have that other person who's like, it's the collection. You got to do this. You got to get it. You got to add
You
it.
got that other person going, the other one on your other shoulder going, John Hanna, Len Bias, Oscar Robertson. By the way,
Inside joke, guys.
By the
Don't
way,
worry about it.
I warned Rez about the Hanna, and he didn't even say anything about it.
No,
when
trust me.
Mighty was here and he saw the Hanna, he said, "Let Rez know he's on the clock. He has till the end of the year. Or it's fine."
Oh, it's coming. Trust me.
It's a good thing you're a good friend, Rez. Otherwise, that would have came home in the tote with me that night.
Yeah, no, man. Like it's one of those things. And Slim, I gotta hit you up on that at some point because I know.
Oh, they're here, man. It's all good, brother. No, they're here.
Sure. But just the overall aspect of, I've been fortunate to have friends that have been very supportive and understanding of my quote unquote addiction, if you want to call it that.
Your girl.
My wife, yeah. I mean, she's here. I mean,
it could be cocaine.
Yeah, and I mean, it's one of those things where it's like, look, you're not hurting anybody. Why is it an issue?
Not gambling.
But at the same token, you have people who think like, hey, that's a hoarding issue. You're spending X amount of dollars on a piece of clothing that's just sitting in your closet or tote or whatever, wherever you store them, when this could be used towards a house. That's not the first time I've heard that either. I've heard stuff like, oh, imagine what you could do with that money. You could have a brand new car.
Oh my God, dude. Yeah, I've had that a lot.
And they hit you with that. They try to reality check it, and they're not wrong. I mean, Slim, like you did the math. You said if I sold a jersey for $125, I would have enough to put it down on a house. Like reality is, you probably could do that. But what people don't realize is the collection aspect of everything that gets put, time, money, legit checks, fandoms, memories. There's so many different things that are put into this that people don't really care about, and they just don't understand. You know what I mean? And like I said, at some point, like, and Slim said it too, at some point, we're gonna, the road's gonna end at some point. You know what I mean? We're not gonna be here forever. There's gonna be a time when we're not gonna be in this place, this world anymore. And what's gonna happen with our collection? I think for me personally, and I'll let Mighty and Big John, if you guys want to chime in as well. I think like for the most important thing is to not let it consume you. You know what I mean?
There was times where I was definitely consumed, bro. Yeah, I agree.
No, I mean, and it's true. I have to really practice what I preach, because I've been put in predicaments myself where I put something on a credit card or whatever, or there was a bill that I had and I didn't make it a priority. First things first, I never miss my payments. I always make my payments on time. But the thing is, I could pay it off. It's about paying it off sooner. And there's, other things involved with that, interest, IOUs, whatever the case may be. And just being smarter about your financial decisions, I think. And again, with collecting comes money. And with money, comes responsibility. Obviously, I'm now living in my own spot here with my wife. Like, I have to make sure that, the rent is being paid and everything is taken care of before I can contribute to the hobbies. And if worse comes to worse, if there's a bill that can't get paid, I will sell something in my collection to make sure that happens. And I think for a lot of us, we struggle with that, and that's okay. But for somebody who is from the outside, they look at us like we're crazy.
Yeah.
To put it lightly, like they're like, you're crazy. You're absolutely crazy that you're putting yourself in a position where you're affecting your your livelihood because of a piece of clothing. But I don't know, man. Like, it's an interesting hobby. It's an interesting way to look at it, but it's also a very common for a lot of us. And I guess Mighty, like, I know you have your own spot. I know you have your spot with your jerseys in there. But like, did you ever have somebody, outside in look at you like, what are you doing, man? Like, what's going on? Or
well, I think
He's just happy he doesn't have to hide him from his mom anymore.
yeah, yeah. I don't have to do that anymore. But honestly, my parents did have concerns. I remember when I first got the house, my dad really doesn't watch a lot of my YouTube videos, but he saw one when I picked up, I think it was a Damon Stoudemire Raptor jersey, and he was like concerned. He's like, "Oh, you gotta be careful, whatever," and and with the house and the bills and whatever, and so I know that if my parents saw this stuff, they would probably be a little more concerned about it. But the outside voices, it's I've gotten, I think, every once in a while, maybe I'll get a comment on YouTube or something like, "Wow, how do you get that much?" And how do you, or why, or something, something along those lines. And I don't quite know how to explain it. It's just, my dad once told my mom, that's just how he's wired. And it's just something in you. I think all collectors have just some sort of whatever it is in them that makes them want to surround themselves. I mean, let's be honest. Everyone wants to surround themselves with what makes them happy, right? But people do it in different ways. As collectors, we literally do it. I mean, we surround ourselves with what we love, what makes us happy, whether it's the figures, the jerseys, the comic books, the memorabilia, Hollywood memorabilia, whatever it is, cars. It's just, there's something that we do that I don't think everyone can do, because I don't think everyone can handle this kind of thing. I think it's a certain mentality, and it's just something that I think it's just in you. I've always done it. I mean, I did it when I was young with Matchbox cars. I did it with sports cards. I've done it with Mighty Mouse for those years. I did it now with jerseys for many years. And it's just something, I guess, that's just in me, that just, I want to just surround myself with what makes me happy. And, if people don't like it, I mean, they're not me. I mean, I can't help what people are going to feel about what I do. I mean, I'm sure there's, if people came here, more than, and, most people who I have in the house are friends, or, obviously fellow Jersey heads have been here. So it's almost like it's not as surprising, but I've had a few people. I remember earlier in the year, a mutual friend, one of the guys in the Jersey Heads group, came here with his buddy. And actually, part of the reason he was here was to drop off some jerseys I bought from him. But he was going to come in the area with his buddy, and they came here, and showed his buddy around, and his buddy was just blown away. He said his buddy was a plumber, and he said, "I've been to all these houses. I've never seen anything like this. This is amazing." He said, "You're really some collect. You really have love for this." Because he said, "No, I've never seen anything like all these racks, and how they were displayed on the racks, and just he said that I've never seen a house like this." And not just with the jerseys, but with all the Philadelphia paraphernalia down here, and the sport, all the Philly teams and everything displayed. He says, "I've never seen anything quite like this." And he was blown away. And I think it was one of the first times that I've seen someone come in here and have that kind of reaction. Because, when you get the Jersey heads who come in here, and maybe my collection might be a different than maybe some others, but it's almost like, yeah, it's jerseys. This is what they love. So the reaction to it is they're just seeing something they love. So So, it's almost like it's no big deal. But if someone who comes here who isn't a collector, their reaction is totally different. Like, oh my goodness. And his reaction wasn't a bad one, but I'm sure if there was like other people, like, if I had a bunch of people from the work office or something that came in, there might be some reactions, to some of them, like, oh, wow. this is I didn't know you had it like this kind of thing.
Yeah, you tell people how much you got, and then when you show them, their reactions are usually pretty. Their reactions are different because once they actually see it, and they're like, "Holy shit!"
It's hard to comprehend unless you see it.
Right.
I can tell people. I tell people. People say, "How many you have?" I said, "I probably have about." I've never done a full count. I've never quite inventoried them. But I said if I were to take a guess, probably be around in the 1,000 area. And there, sometimes, you get the big eyes, but if they don't see it, it's a whole different thing. If they see it, if they see all this, then it's like, ooh, whoa, this is this is a whole nother deal here.
Yeah. Seeing is believing,
But honestly, and I'll shut up after this and let other people go. But honestly, the way I've always lived is that I try to be as careful as I can because I know the bills, and particularly having my own place, the bills do pile up. I mean, it happens, and I try to be as careful as I can, but it's hard because there's so much out there, and it's not just in the groups people are selling stuff or whatever, but all this new stuff that keeps popping out, all these new jerseys and whatever that keep coming out, and it's tough. And you really get that in the back of your mind. You really get that fear. Like, oh, if I don't get this, if it's not there. And it happens so many times, but I keep trying to beat it into my skull that, listen, I'll be able to get it if I just wait a bit and maybe wait a couple weeks, get it at this other time, do the paying for if I have to, whatever. And if I miss it, this is the other thing I'm trying to train myself. If I miss it, there'll be like 50 other things out there. You miss one thing, there'll be others. Yeah. So, you can't worry about it so much, but it's easier said than done. Because I get the sweats when Slim knows, he's seen it. I get the sweats.
Yeah, don't be sweating in that jersey.
Oh no, not no. I get like so fired up about it when I'm looking at stuff. When I go to the stores and I'm looking at stuff, I mean, I can feel myself like getting a little warmer and getting a little like, ooh, look at this, look at that, But yeah. I mean, to be honest, I pay every bill. Every bill gets paid on time. I remember when I was getting my Mini Cooper, I got it from a used car place, and they were so surprised at my credit score. They say, "Oh my God, you have this score?" It was almost like they did a double take, almost because I was at a used car place. But I'm like, well, yeah, and they're like, "Wow, that's we hardly see something like this," and they were like really impressed. It's almost like they wanted to frame it, But I make sure all my credit card bills are paid on time. All the other bills are paid, and I have lights on. So as long as that happens, I can, do what I have to do. But it's very hard. And as Slim said, yeah, I mean, there's other things I would like to do, and I am trying to do that. Like, I'm trying to get out there a little more, right? If I want to go to like a Flyers game or something, let me just go to a Flyers game. Maybe it means I have to hold off on this hat, these couple hats or this jersey or whatever. Let me just go and have a good time. And then what do I do there? I go to the shop and I look at jerseys. But I mean, it's it is what it is. It's a continuous cycle.
Yeah. No, that's, I mean,
the one thing I'll chime in about, piggyback off what Mighty just said about is one thing that I'm pretty proud of, and I've said this a couple of times, and is that I was able to buy, my collection to wherever I ended up at 1,400 jerseys, and I paid cash for all of them. I don't even own a credit card. I never have.
Mhm.
So that's the one thing that's always caught people off guard. Like, holy shit, I paid cash for everything I bought. So there just literally is no debt from buying, which was,
That's impressive.
I mean, like I said, it came with some BS. I put myself in I backed myself into a corner quite a few times, more than I care to admit. But that's one thing I was kind of. But the sad part about it is now you got Mighty sitting here talking about, I went and bought a Mini and I got this amazing credit score, but my credit score is probably hurting because I don't have a credit card. I'm not financing anything in it right now at all. Like I refuse to. Every time anything goes wrong with my car, I fix it. Like right now, it's still messed up, but when it blew up 2 years ago, I put a motor in it instead of going to buy another car. And just don't. I don't. There's nothing on my credit right now. So, and ironically, the girl that I'm talking to, she's like, can we get a house? Are we gonna? And I'm like, I get all wide-eyed. I'm like, I don't even. I mean, other than the fact that I've got, a bunch of jerseys that I could sell if I have to. I don't even have the credit to even think about that. Maybe a first-time buyer or something like that. But
got a question for you. Got a question.
Go ahead, Luke.
How long have you two been talking? The lady you've been talking to. How long you guys been?
Mighty, don't you even say a word. But anyways, and by the way, Mighty, don't forget tomorrow's her birthday. Yeah. So her, like, she reached out, and I guess, and she reached out to you, didn't she, Mighty? Did she send you a friend request?
Yes, she did.
Yeah. Okay. And then Neiman sent her one, and she's like, "Your friend Neiman, is it okay to add him?" And I was like, "Yeah, he's fine." We haven't been talking that long, and it's I've put myself through some heartache over it, and it was crazy. We come from the same neighborhood. It was weird that we've had the same mutual friends for going on 30 years, and her and I just never crossed paths. Probably because I'm 47 and she's turning 41 tomorrow. So, but we're at least on the same page for both what we want. We both know we want to be together. It's going to be a work in progress because she's just, the more we talk, I realize that she's been through some shit, and a lot of it's not good, and she's not. She doesn't really know how to handle me because I don't treat her like shit like all her other boyfriends did. So, like,
when you get to our age, I'm 46,
they might buy nice stuff and do nice stuff for her, but I don't talk to her like she's a piece of shit like they did. So,
right,
like I call her beautiful and gorgeous all the time, and she just, you can tell she's been through it because she just doesn't believe it. And every time I say it, she's got to, like, do you really do think that she's one of them, and and I mean I've been through the same, I've been through the same shit, myself. Whereas it's just, if I'm not interested, I don't put forth the effort, but I'm definitely interested in her. So we'll see what happens. I mean, everybody that I talk to on a regular basis have seen, a little bit of what I've been going through. Hell, I even called Rez one night. I was standing in the kitchen, lost it, talking to him. I'm like, Rez, man, But I mean, what it is, man. I'm a big fucking softie. So, and she knows it. We'll see what happens. Yeah.
Hey, best of luck, man. I mean, I'm 46, and I think when you start dating our age, it's you're not gonna have anybody with no baggage. as it comes down to it.
Yeah.
No, the thing that bothered me was, like, when you're around me, dress a certain way. That's something that it struck a chord with me because I spent a lot of my life, basically, like, there was a time in my 20s where I would go to clubs and I wouldn't care what I was wearing. Like, if I was invited to go, I'm like, all right, I'm not changing. I'm wearing a jersey. I'm wearing a hoodie. I'm wearing this, whatever. And I would go in there, and some of these ladies would look at me like I'm fucking short. And that used to get to me after a while, psychologically. Like, what the fuck are you looking at? Like, you haven't seen a dude in a jersey in a concert before? Like, but the whole, like, let me dress you, it's, I don't know. To me, it feels like, there may be more to it, but it felt like immediate red flag. Like, they've been told that many times. Like, why, I used to get a lot of whys when I was younger. Like, why do you collect that? Why do you always wear jerseys? Why do you wear metal shirts? A lot of whys, and that never sat well with me. So, but I've been lucky in past relationships. I mean, the longest one I had, I was engaged until about a year ago. Um, she understood. You know, she liked a lot of the same teams I like. Matter of fact, I bought her first jersey. I bought her first Jordans. You know what I mean? Like she understood what I was coming from, and at the same time, like she wanted to partake in what I collected and what I liked. That's different. I mean, the one that I was talking to recently, she bought me the Capo Caco jersey I wore to the game 2 weeks ago. She bought me that as a Valentine's present, you know, and
Sweet.
yeah, it's rare when you find those, but at the same time, like don't, you know, if she really really loves you or really like likes you or whatever, they're gonna like all of you, like every single part of you, whether you're the jersey head, you know, they do wearing all the jerseys all the time, or wearing the metal shirts all the time, or whatever. They're gonna like every piece of you from, you know, every single angle. So that's something that you have to keep in mind. Maybe some, you know, maybe she likes guys dressed a certain way because of her past or whatever, but once she starts, you know, getting closer to you, but she might actually end up changing her mind. At least I hope she ends up changing her mind more about that. And maybe, who knows? Maybe she end up, you know, getting caught in the same web. So
Rez,
I doubt that, but
What's up, Big John?
man,
you never
I gotta
know.
tell you, man. For me, you know, right now my goal, you know, I've been saving up, and you know, I finally got that security job, and for me right now, my goal is to buy my mom a house. Like, I sold off a lot of my stuff, like a lot of the jerseys and stuff that I wasn't wearing, and you know, putting in the long hours, like, and you know, we mentioned my college graduation a month ago. You know, I never thought I would graduate college. Like 5 years ago, you know, I graduated high school, and people would ask me like, "Oh, what are you going to do with your life?" Honestly, I didn't think I would be around because, you know, you guys know I was a big guy. I didn't think I would be around. And fast forward to 5 years ago, 5 years later, I've lost 70 pounds. I'm a college graduate. Heck, I got you guys. I finally got a job, and I'm working towards my goal of buying my mom a house. And my mom and I, we talk about it all the time. I said, Mom, I'm going to buy you a home one day. And like I said, I'm slowly overcoming my addictions. I'm not where I want to be. Thank God I'm not where I used to be. I'm on my way. And you know what? That's why I love being a part of this community, man. And I'm also part of the DDPY community, and we talk about stuff like this all the time. And I see stories like this, man. And you know what? We're all here to help each other. We're bringing each other up, man. That's what it's all about. I love you guys. Keep doing y'all's thing. And I'm gonna tell you, man. For me, one day it's all about the experiences too, man. You know, talk about saving up money. For me, you know, it's not just like saving up money for the house. I'm also saving up to meet all my friends. Like I got to meet Luca. So next, I'm planning on coming to Philly. You know, WrestleMania's coming up, and I've told everybody else I'm going to Philly to meet my guys, meet my boys, Slim, Mighty, all you guys. We finna have a good time.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
No, man.
rock
Well
and
said,
Roman.
man.
Rock
Hey,
and
hey.
roll. Yeah, I'm gonna be there.
Props to you, Big John, man. Like I said, man, somebody as young as you who have aspirations and who's dedicated, you know, like it almost reminds me of me and my story. You know, when I lost, I mean, I was like damn well like over 300 plus pounds at one point. And, you know, I was so skinny. That's why people was like, oh, skinny Rez, you know, back when Rez was wearing oversized jerseys. I mean, I was just a skinny guy. I was like 150 pounds wearing size 56 jerseys. Like, you know, so, you know, that there was that. But yeah, you know, I also graduated in 5 years. I got a job. And, you know, one of my goals, you know, like I said, was to find somebody. I found my wife. I was with my wife for 10 plus years, you know, finally tied the knot. And, you know, now my goal is to own a house like you. I mean, I want to get my own place. I mean, I have my own place, but I want to own my own place. You know what I'm saying? To have your own home, like your own, you know, equity like that is a very rewarding thing. It's not easy because there's definitely a lot of things that you have to do that go, that are involved with that. Saving money, obviously, save, credit, good credit, good credit, good credit, good credit, and it kind of, just kind of combines into that one big goal at the end of it. You know what I'm saying? I'm still paying off some debt that I have. I have some student loans that are almost paid off. Fortunately, I anticipate they'll be paid off by next year, which I'm very excited about because that's one big heavy weight that I've had financially for a long time. And also other things as well. I'd like to clear some of my debt that I have.
But I'm gonna tell you, Rez, like one thing that's so cool. Whenever I see someone, like whether it's from high school or like my mom's friends or anybody, anytime that I see somebody and the first thing they say is, "Wow, you look good. You lost so much weight." Like, and to me, it makes me feel good. Like same thing when I do like meet and greets. Like I talk about my story. Like perfect example when I met Jake. I told him about my journey with DDPY and the whole how I lost the 70 pounds, and I told him about it. I said Resurrection, Jake the Snake helped save my life. I said you and Scott and Dallas, without those three guys I wouldn't be here. And his wife, especially, like he said thanks man, but his wife Cheryl, I gotta tell you man, sweetest lady I ever met. She lit up, like she talked to me for 5 minutes. She just kept telling me, she was like, keep doing what you're doing. And I told her, I said, I'm working towards my goals. Like, like I said, buying my mom a home. And like I said, that right now, that's my number one priority. Like nothing else. Putting in the work. And to me, I can't wait till the day I finally buy her that home and to see her face. It's
yeah, man.
What we're talking about.
No, that's great. That's a great goal, man. And everything comes in full circle. You know what I'm saying?
That's a great. Hey, John, did you ever see? That's cool that you met Cheryl too. Did you actually? Do you remember seeing the footage? Did you go back and look at the footage of SummerSlam '88 when Rude and Jake were having that, and Rude was putting Rick Rude was putting girls on his tights, and he put Cheryl on his tights. Yeah, and then it all came to a head at SummerSlam '88. I was 12 when that happened, and I remember watching that with my cousin. And he was wrestling a Junkyard Dog, and Jake come out there and beat the shit out of him. Yeah,
it's funny.
But that whole story is crazy because she left him because of his demons. Yeah, and then it all full circle, like 25 years. I guess they were apart, and then they get back together.
Yeah.
It's fun. It's crazy you mentioned that. One of the pictures they had was her slapping Rick Rude, and the first thing I said to her was like, I love the whole feud with ravishing Rick Rude and you slapping Rick, and she showed me the picture too, and she was smiling, man. Like
that's amazing.
A total sweetheart,
that's
like
dope.
Real cool person.
That's freaking cool dope, man.
Sting was
that's freaking
cool.
Awesome.
I actually, it's funny. It's funny, Big John, because I was actually supposed to meet Sting about maybe a month ago. I went to a convention, and keep in mind, this was the same convention where I met the voice actor of Goku. And this convention was just very, very unorganized. And I remember I was in line. There was a long line to get inside, and I'm like, okay, this event's not going to open for like another 45 minutes. What's the holdup? And so they're like, no, this is the line to like buy a ticket to get in. I'm like, are you serious? And they're like, yeah. And I was like, well, Sting's appearance is gonna be like 15 minutes in. Once the doors open, like I need to get in. Woo! So, by the time I get to the front of the line, it's like just about his time to do his photo was just starting, and I'm at the front of the line, and I'm like, I want to do one photo for Sting, and they're like, sold out. I said, what? How is this sold out? The doors just opened, and they're like, we don't have any more tickets for him. I'm like, dude, you can add me to the line. Like, it's just right there. And they're like, sorry, he's not doing photos anymore. I'm like, well, can we do a photo? Like, can we do a selfie at his booth? And they were like, no.
Oh
So
man.
I was like, okay, so I'm $30 out the whole, out of pocket because I spent $30 to buy a ticket, and you're telling me now that I can't meet Sting. This is the only reason why I was here. And they're like, I'm sorry. So I saw Sting, but I wasn't able to take a picture with him. And I was wearing my Sting shirt, my NWO Sting shirt, and I was like, what the heck?
Yeah.
What am I supposed to do now?
Oh,
so I'm literally looking at Sting from the corner of my eye, he's literally right there, and I couldn't take a picture with him. I'm like, oh
I
my
forgot to tell you, Rez. So
I'm not trying to get Mighty to run away or nothing, but John and Rez, what'd you guys think of Rock coming out and cutting that promo on Theory?
I loved it. I loved it. I mean, I don't really know where they're going with this angle, because are they supposed to Rock was supposed to face Roman, right? Wasn't that an idea?
Well, apparently, I saw I don't know if you guys follow Pat McAfee.
Yeah,
but Rock was on McAfee earlier that day, and he didn't want to talk much about with Hollywood because of the writer's strike, so he couldn't talk much about that. But the WWE stuff, apparently, I guess Nick Khan, who was Rock's childhood friend, and I guess he's president or whatever he is in WWE right now.
Right.
And Vince, they all went and sat and had a conversation, I guess, months before SoFi, before WrestleMania 39. And they had it in place, and Rock was like, Rock and Roman, let's do it. And then something happened, and Rock said the closer the event came, it just fell apart. And now he's claiming that he's open to WrestleMania 40 with Roman, so we'll see.
See what happens,
I mean,
man, but
at this point, there's nobody else that's left in the WWE roster that can challenge Roman other than The Rock. He's already pretty much solidified himself, as the tribal chief. They could
always run some kind of promo about who's really the head of the table, who's really, because they're all in the same family,
Yeah. I mean, I think this at this point, there's nobody left but The Rock. But the question is The Rock going to be the person to dethrone Roman? Because it doesn't really make sense it makes sense to have them in a match, but it doesn't make sense for The Rock to be the one to dethrone Roman because Roman is, yeah, I mean, you got to build. We got cricket up in here or what?
Yo, that's in my shit.
Oh, man.
Let's go. I mean, but yeah, no, I don't know if that's the best decision.
That reaction, by the way, on SmackDown when his music hit, might have been the loudest reaction I've seen in WWE in years.
Dude,
probably since Cody. The surprise at WrestleMania a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
The Hardys maybe at WrestleMania, but lately it's just been WrestleMania reactions. This is a SmackDown,
Right.
And I had to replay. I had to replay it 4 or 5 times, dude. I guess that was so.
You know what's great about that too is actually I can attest to that because I actually went to WrestleMania 31 when they were at Levi Stadium.
Oh,
and
yeah.
The main event was Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar before he was the tribal chief and stuff like that. But
the cash.
I remember. Yeah, I remember my wife was telling me, she's like, The Rock's here. I was like, he's not here. And I remember when I went to when I was at the pay-per-view at Levi's, I saw his mom. She was just passing me. I'm kicking myself because I should have asked her for a picture. But anyways, dude. I saw his mom walking in passing, and I'm like, dude, he's here. And it wasn't even mentioned at all on the card. He had a promo.
He didn't show up though, did he?
He was there with Ronda Rousey.
Oh yeah,
that was Ronda's first appearance technically.
Yeah, he didn't have a match, but dude, when Ronda came out, when Stephanie McMahon and Triple H were there and they were talking for the Authority, and The Rock's music pops, dude, electrifying is the only way I can describe it. It was just that hype. It was
Again,
crazy.
WrestleMania. You expect those kind of reactions at a WrestleMania, but at a Raw or SmackDown, they're very rare nowadays. You know.
Yeah.
So I mean, that was almost like when Punk, you know, the first dance at AEW a couple years ago when Punk showed
Oh,
up.
man.
That was the world's worst kept secret, and the
Yeah,
reaction.
I was going to bring that up because that crowd pop, like sitting here watching it on my TV. The crowd pop. I mean, you know, that was when Call to Personality hit. I was like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Dude, that was a day after my birthday a couple years back, and I wasn't that I want to see it to believe it kind of a thing, because Punk is like my modern guy. Austin's my old time, and Punk was my modern guy. And I remember putting the TV on, watching Rampage for the first time in a while. I'm like, all right, let's see what happens. And that day, actually, on his Instagram story, he posted, it was a picture of the one of the covers of Dark Knight Returns. And I was like, oh shit, this is happening. But I still was skeptical. So when they pan to the crowd, the crowd's chanting for his name, and he comes out. Just the reaction I had at home, like I couldn't believe it was happening, and I couldn't help but sob. I was like sobbing like a baby.
Yeah.
My ex-fiance heard me from the kitchen, and she's like, "Baby, what's wrong?" I'm like, and all I could do was just point at the TV. And she's
Well,
like,
wasn't
"Oh
there?
my
Was
God, he's
that
back."
the same
'Cause
show
he
where
was-
there was a guy that cried in the theater or in the arena, and
that
they
way.
called him?
They like zoomed
the
in
guy
his
who, like,
face.
pointed
They
at the
zoomed
guy,
in.
Yeah, that was me. And because by the time we met, there was Punk's been gone for like about a year plus, from
Yeah.
wrestling. So she
Yeah.
didn't know how much I was into, his character and all this stuff, his time in WWE. So I always just talked about it, and she saw all my shirts and all that stuff. So she understood how much of a fandom I have for him and wrestling in general. But I so lucky Akaku Mustard was just like sobbing and just pointing at the TV and just her going, "Oh, he's back," and I just shook my head. And
I got goosebumps, bro, when he came
Me
out.
too.
yeah, I was like,
I'm not.
Did you guys see that one sign that was actually pretty cool? I guess from the time that he left WWE in early 2014 to the time he came back, somebody held up a sign at AEW when he walked out, and it says, "It's been 2,739 days or something."
Yes.
yeah.
It's just to highlight that comment real quick for Sam. Is anyone else on the panel doing the Lids Ultimate Jersey Collector? I know Mighty
did.
submitted his thing. I tried to do it, but I didn't. I don't know if I did it right because it like when I submitted my thing, it said, "Okay, you're in," but I didn't get a confirmation or anything, so I don't even really know.
I
Sam
just
should
got a
join,
confirmation email from them today.
You
'Cause
what?
I was wondering about it too, because someone wrote a comment in my YouTube vid for it that in the rules somewhere it said it had to be a minute long, and I'm thinking, I didn't see it. Doesn't mean it's not in there. But I'm like, how can you? I know everything's in an instant world right now with TikTok and with the reels and everything, but I'm like, how do you even show like a minute? It's really not even ample time to really kind of. I'm not saying you have to show every single thing, but like in 1 minute to kind of show a whole collection would be kind of tough. Certainly for me. I mean, maybe if I had to do it, I could, just do little clips of racks, but you really can't. You can't make anything out in a minute. It's but no. So I started thinking, well, if that's the case, then it is what it is. But then I got the confirmation that it was approved today. I haven't heard anything
cricket.
else. I have no idea what the process is.
Stupid, Riz.
Yeah, I don't know either. So wait, did Lid say you were in, or did they like disqualify you? Or,
Well,
like...
when you there was like a form to fill out, and within the form you had to put the URL to your YouTube or TikTok or Instagram vid or whatever you did to show that you wanted to submit for the Ultimate Jersey Collector. And so I made the video first, obviously. I copied it and I put the URL where it told me where it said to put it. It was my name, my address. They wanted, because I guess the prize is a jersey and a hat. So they wanted to know my jersey size and the hat size. So I'm guessing it's a fitted hat. So I gave all that information. I put in the URL spot. I pasted the link to my YouTube vid, and then I submitted it. But I noticed after I submitted it, it just said processing, and
I got the same thing.
It was just processing. I mean, on the top it said you submitted whatever. But so I didn't know. I didn't know, if it was just going to do that until after the deadline was done or what. And then I kind of didn't really look at it. I went back the next day and it still was processing, but it said above that you've submitted your form or whatever. So I'm like, okay, well, I mean, it is what it is. And then literally today, earlier today, I got a confirmation email from them saying, your whatever has been submitted has been approved. So I guess they have to look. Obviously, they have to look at everything and approve.
Is there like is there a prize or something?
I think it's like a
trophy or something.
No, it's not a trophy. It's a custom jersey, a one of a kind. They say, like, so I'm guessing it's Ultimate Jersey Collect. I have no idea.
It's going to be a blue Billy White shoes.
Yeah, and a hat. You get a hat, so I guess a fitted hat.
A matching orders hat.
Yeah, so so that's all I know.
Mighty's probably already got 5 hats that match that jersey there.
Yeah, I think
it's gonna. I mean,
that's about right.
So when are they going to announce like the contestants?
I have no idea. I mean, they haven't put anything else. All it was, Ultimate Jersey Collector. Look at the official rules and register. And they didn't put anything as to what the steps are. So all I know is I submitted the thing. It got approved. I guess next now they're going to, they'll probably put something on Instagram or social media about, okay, here's the next steps or whatever. I mean, I'm going to keep going back and looking at Lidz's Instagram page just to see if they post anything about it. Or maybe they email. I have absolutely no idea. I know that in the past years they did the Ultimate Hat Collector thing, which is the same vein. And that was, I don't know, I almost, if I remember, it was kind of done different because people would post their stuff and then it would be like a voting situation. Yeah. And so it came down to however many people, and you had to vote for who you thought the Ultimate Hat Collector was.
Right.
Because I remember my buddy from Houston, Pierre, he won it one year. But they gave a cash prize for that. It wasn't just you got a special hat, but you got some sort of cash which Pierre donated to charity. But for this, it's a specialized jersey and hat that you win. And for me, I don't really
in that group, man. I don't know. I think there's a lot of great candidates that I know that just don't knowing from the groups I belong to that you all belong to too. So
the only thing that I kind of hope
possibly somebody we know.
The only thing, and I know I spoke on this in my recent YouTube vid. The only thing I look, I'm one of those that I'm not. Even if I get crowned the ultimate jersey, because I'm never going to consider myself, to be the best, the GOAT, the best of the best, whatever, But the only thing I would hope is, in a way, I hope it doesn't come down to votes, because I mean, hypothetically, I could be a finalist, and then I'm going up against someone who has a big, like, Kobe collection or Michael Jordan, and people will be voting on it just because it's Kobe. They're not looking at it as what's the jerseys. Yeah. They're going to think of the player. And
because of popularity.
It is. If I lose out to a big Kobe collector, I mean, I can't complain about it, But it still is going to be like, well, were they voting for the jerseys or because it's Kobe?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's when it becomes very tough. Like when we used to do the jersey battles, that's why we had those rules, no Kobe, no Jordan, because people feel some type of way about those particular jerseys and players. So.
Yeah.
I mean, if we're looking at lids, chances are it's probably going to be like that, where they're going to have, contestant number 1, Mighty Mouse fan, contestant number 2, whoever, and then they're going to basically say, submit your votes by this time. And then unless they have their own judges and their judges vote, themselves, but then I don't know how that's going to work. I was trying to figure that out myself because when I saw your video submission, I was like, I went on Lids and I was like, man, this has been up for a week already. And I'm like, I don't really have time to like come up with another video and submit it. I have work, So, but I submitted my thing anyways.
I at first I didn't know if I really wanted to do it, and then I'm like, yeah, let me just, let me just try. I'll throw something together, and submit it. And then I thought I read somewhere in the rules that you had to have a couple pictures and post that to Instagram and tag Lids and tag the Ultimate Jersey. So so I posted something on Instagram, and Lids reposted it, or on their thing. So, I guess I followed the rule there. It's weird because there were rules, but it was almost like it almost felt like something they kind of just slapped together. And it's sure. Like, okay, well, we really don't know where to go. All right, well, you submitted it. Now what's going to happen? But who knows? I guess we'll find out in time. Like I said, for all I know, I might not even be a finalist, and that's fine. If there's other people get chosen, that's awesome. I do want to say though, I do think it's cool that they're kind of doing something for jersey collectors and not, just to kind of put a little light on jersey collecting. It's always nice. And Lids is always going to be known for hats, and obviously they would do the hat collector every year, and that was cool. It was a great contest, but it's also cool that they're showing a little love for the jersey guys and gals.
Yeah, no doubt, man. Well, listen, guys. We're approaching almost 2 hours here.
Where's the Sharks at?
The Sharks hat is actually high up in my ceiling right now. I can't grab it. But, I want to kind of start wrapping things up here, man. But I do want to thank everybody, of course, like always, that's a part of these lives, man. Like I feel like every week is a different week, and we all kind of bring something different to the table. And I really this topic. I know this topic wasn't very easy to discuss. Some of us had to really be open with ourselves and admitting. I think and again, I don't want this live to be like we're shaming a person or calling somebody out. No, it's definitely not like that. I think it's just a place.
It was like a therapy section, though. It was very therapeutic, actually.
Absolutely, 100%. And I think that's very nice to have that because you don't want to be in a circle of people where they're looking at you like, well, dude, what are you doing? Like, what is this? What is that? Why are you doing this? Why are you doing that? It's definitely not like that. And I never wanted to. Damn it. Okay, you want me to get the Sharks hat? Fine, I'll get the Sharks hat.
There you go.
I mean, it's not an official end to the live.
Mr. Brody Lee.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry.
This is one of my favorite figures, man. I love the fact that he comes with the papers.
Oh my God.
The papers.
Watch out. He got the papers. Uncle Lou got the papers.
Yeah, no, that was a bit on the old being the elite.
No, here we go.
I know the papers.
See, Rez, it's almost close to another season too. So
man, Rez,
I know. I'm excited for hockey season, man. I know the Sharks ain't gonna go nowhere.
But Rez, that's a good thing though. So we can go to games cheaper. That's all it is.
That's all I have to look forward to. Like $5 or $10. But
I'm just gonna enjoy it while I can, because I know once they get good, it's gonna be harder to get the tickets. So I'm just gonna I'm gonna get to some games and get them on cheap on StubHub or something beforehand. And
yeah, no, definitely. That's like the one thing I look forward to is when our teams don't do well or if they get eliminated from whatever is stuff starts to go on sale. But yeah, man, like, just kind of talking about, just to wrap things up here, man. Like, I really do appreciate you guys. I appreciate everything that gets brought to the table.
Yep.
And this was a great topic. It's something that we've kind of touched on more than one occasion. I've talked about this before on previous episodes, but I never really dedicated an actual episode to this. So, it's good to have these conversations because I feel like it puts things in perspective for a lot of us. Definitely does for me. But it also it's comforting to know that I'm not alone in this, and that I have people out there, who also share the same drive and passion or addiction or whatever you want to call it, myself. And I know we all collect differently, but that core of us collecting, is definitely still there. But do you guys have anything to add before I start wrapping things up?
I have a pickup. Can I show you pickup?
A pickup? Absolutely.
Oh,
It's not a
Oh, yeah.
jersey, but this is like kind of the kind of shit, like looking around for stuff for my girl for her birthday. Like I saw shit like this and I'm like, yo, that is super fucking cool. And it takes me back to when I was a kid. Like, look at it. It's a
Oh
blanket.
my gosh.
Yeah.
Throwback.
Fridays.
It's
man.
a blanket, but it's a blanket, but it's a VHS cover.
Oh,
That's
Hell
fine.
yeah.
Like I had to get up and stretch it out. Like there's no movie attached to it. It just says movie rental, video, VHS, video cassette, category horror, and then Hollywood, California, Blockbuster Video. Yeah, it's just like it's like a throw blanket, but
man,
I thought it was like super cool to get.
Yeah.
I miss
That's
Block.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
cool, man. That's definitely
Miss
throwback.
the good
Right
old
there.
It showed up today. Like it's funny because it was only $29, so I couldn't 4 it. And then I was like, they were like, "Do you want to donate $1?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And as soon as I did that, it went to $30. So then I could pay the 4 it.
Oh man, I got so many great memories.
Did that make me sound cheap or what?
Not at all. Not at all.
We're all done that.
Well, so you guys have anything else you want to add?
Man, it's been a
Listen.
therapeutic episode, man. This is one of the best lives I've been a part of. I know it's been a while, so I'm just happy to be back, and I'm just grateful I don't have to work at nights anymore. So
There you go.
they moved me today,
It
and I'm
was,
happy about it, and I get to be here with my friends. So I'll tell you, it's been therapeutic, and I'm just happy to be back, man. And,
No
just
doubt,
living
man.
life, bro. Just I've been eyeing some jerseys. I've been following Mitchell and Ness, and I tell you, they posted not that long ago about that '83 Walter Payton, and I saw the quad, the mesh, and all
Oh,
that.
yeah.
I might be getting. I did call Mitchell and Ness up because it was on the website, but they said to call. They told me to call back early October, and that they'll order me one in a bigger size. So I've been eyeing that jersey, and they also have a rookie junior sale, the 1990, and I'm thinking about getting that too.
Isn't that rookie
And that's
sale?
gonna be it. Yep, the rookie junior sale.
Yeah, that's what's
Okay.
up.
It's the away
Yeah,
one, by
those
the
are
way.
two good ones. And they corrected because the original Walter Payton
Yep.
with the George Hallis patch was done incorrectly. The patch,
Mm.
which is actually screened.
Wait,
onto
Mitchell
the
needs
jersey,
to actually
but-
fix something?
Yeah, they
But
fixed
yeah,
it.
I know, and that just goes to show they made mistakes back in the day too. So they made it with.
I guess
the
we got to play
correct-
the lottery. That won't happen.
Yeah, they
And-
made it with the correct one this time. So it's a nice jersey. I kind of have my eyes on that John Lynch creamsicle and that white Dion and
Yeah,
Favre.
that creamsicle jersey
the
is
Falcons.
really nice.
Yeah, those.
But I have so many creamsicle jerseys already.
It took me all I could do. We earlier in the thing we talked about, right? If you see something, how hard it is not to go after it. So what was it like? I think it was either late last week or early. That there's so many sales anymore; they all blend together. But Fanatics was doing a sale, and the white Dion was like it. I mean, it was down to whatever the price was. It was cheap, and I'm like, ooh, I'm paying for that. I can get it. Yeah. I stopped
Was it
myself.
rookie Dion or was
I
it like
almost hit that button.
Four.
I stopped myself.
Which one? Which
The
Dion?
white,
Which
the
Dion
white
jersey is
Deion
it?
Sanders? Yeah, the white Dion Falcons.
Yeah, that one
Why
is
did they-
is Doesn't
And then-
King
and
Leo
then,
did a
of course-
video on that, right?
Then, of course, Double Z is showing a picture of himself wearing one. I'm like, this isn't helping. No,
I should have storage unit, but I have a vintage Russell Athletic, Dion.
I have one too, but it's too snug on me. So
Yeah.
I remember in
Lucky I
'93.
on this one.
I remember in '93 when I was a kid, and I had, and I was seeing that woman that was buying me everything I wanted, my sugar mama. Like, I didn't have any authentics, but like I had the logo. Was it Logo Athletic or the Logo 7 version of Dion?
Oh, Logo 7.
And I was rocking it with the first pair of Diamond Turfs.
Yeah. I hope they bring those back next year now.
I need to get Nike's got to bring those back, man. Like the last time we saw those was like 2010 or something, or
No.
No, ask Leo. He's probably got a pair of them.
Oh, my
That's
fan.
the authentic. That's the original champion.
The Russell.
Oh, man.
Yeah, that champion.
It's a champion.
Nice.
Yeah, see, that's the
It's a
number. That's the
48.
number font that I like. I didn't
It's a
like. I
48,
don't
so
like
it's
the
a
number
bit-
font that
how
Mitchell.
shiny that is, man. My
I
God,
know.
Mhm.
beautiful.
It's
Yeah.
a. I mean, I could wear it. It's attached. It's snug. I could probably wear it, but
Let me
you
stop.
don't think so, huh, Slim? I'm gonna put it on. I'm gonna show you something, Slim.
Yeah,
But
mine-
anyhow, no,
Mine
yeah.
actually doesn't have the name on the back though. Mine was blank because back, that was the time where they weren't really putting names on the back
this,
yet.
Years ago, from Rest in Peace to Ron. I got this from Ron years ago. So this was one of those that it was kind of an impulse buy at the time, but I'm like, ooh, a white Dion, ooh, and I got it from
Worth
him,
it.
and it's a beauty. It's just I wish it was a 52. That's the
Plus, it's a memory you have with somebody who's no longer with us, so that's actually has an
Yeah.
extra
yeah.
emotional
Oh, it ain't
connection.
going
to it.
anywhere. I mean, it's staying in the
Shout out,
collection.
shout outs to
But I do want to get the Mitchell and S one
Shout
someday.
out to Ron.
big shout outs to Ron, man. He actually
Yeah.
sold my Dion, the 94, the white 49ers, Mitchell and S1 with the limited edition patch on the jock
Right.
tag, or not patch, but jock tag.
That was another thing that Ron used to always say. Basically talks about the topic tonight is that just that when we're not going to be here forever, and it's just clothing. He always used to say it's just clothing.
Yep.
Yeah.
The course said the guy that has 132 Cowboy jerseys alone.
It's interesting when it comes from someone who who's in that like practice what you preach type of thing. But you know what, I honestly do feel like Ron was over it already by the time he was already ill. And I know this because of the conversations I was having with him. Was like he just wanted to get
They were
everything.
different after he got sick.
Yeah. It was like
after he knew he was sick. Rob said that Roberto said the story was, basically he was like, dude, he was like, Ron reached out to me and was like, Roberto, he's like, I just don't feel good. Something's not right. And then before you know it, we're seeing that post that like,
yeah,
he's got 4 to 12 months to live. And I'm like, I'm looking at this like, yo, this isn't real, right? It's not real.
right.
Like, and then he's like, apologizing to anybody that he's ever wronged or he's made feel some type of way. And the last interaction I had with him was he asked me about my tagging. He wanted to know about my tagging on my Jeff George, the 94 Jeff George. And I showed him the tagging and everything. And he goes, okay. He goes, I just want to make sure mine was good or something like that. And I was like, oh, okay, no problem, bro. You need anything else, let me know. And we finished that interaction. And then a couple of weeks before he passed, I tried to reach out to him. I was like, bro, yeah, how you doing? You hanging in there? And they were all on Messenger and they all went unread. They're still check marked. He never saw them. So
Yeah.
one thing I do regret, and I'm sure Mighty will agree, we told him we would come and see him, and
Yeah.
we let life, not we never made it up to visit him. We told him we were going to come see him, and we never did. So
Yeah.
I do regret that.
I think in closing with that, I think with Ron, he's one of the many examples of realizing life's too short, man, because he literally had, I mean, we all have like a stopwatch, we all have a time limit, but when you're actually put in that God literally put a stopwatch on him and is like, look, you got 12 months, do what you got to do. This is it, type of thing, and it's like, shit. If that ever happened to me, God forbid, knock on wood, but if something like that ever happened to me, I would make sure first and foremost, everybody that I love and that's close to me is taken care of. I don't want to be a burden to anyone. I don't want my collection to be a burden to anybody. And I sure as hell don't want, my future kids or, even my wife to have that burden. Because it has,
We had that conversation last week.
I don't want to sound morbid, but that conversation has popped up in my head from time to time.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what am I going to do if I go to the doctor Wednesday and he's like, you know what, Rez, you got, well, he's gonna call me by my real name, but he's like, you got like 6 months. You're terminally ill. You have a 50% chance of living this, but it's not looking good. At that point, I would have just been like, all right, I'm going to say my goodbyes on, you to everybody publicly. And then I'm just going to sell everything that I can, make sure that all the money that gets in that gets put for my, my wife, my future kids, whatever, family, and do what you will. But unfortunately, the cricket is back.
Oh man.
But yeah, no, like those are the conversations that we have, and I'm sure Ron had a conversation like that as well. For those of you who don't know who Ron was, he was in the Jersey community, and he had a lot of Jersey.
I was a little late on that one.
And he was part of Kings. He was also part of Jersey Kicks and Lids, and if for anybody that's met him or had a conversation with him, you guys know Ron. You guys knew how he was. But at the end of the day, like, he was a human being, and he was a collector, and he basically lost his life. You know what I mean? And
what was it, August 12th, 2021?
Yeah, it was like during COVID. And
last time he posted in my group was July 25th, 2021.
Mm-hmm.
I tell you, man.
I mean, that's sort of the proof, man. We all have that passion, you know what I mean? We'll have like
I think
stuff, but at the end of the
having
day,
yeah, I mean, like, having a passion is one thing, but letting it hold you down, like what GTC was saying, don't let these things hold you down. I think that's the most important takeaway with it, because it can happen. It has happened for me. It's happened for a lot of us, I'm sure, in some shape or form. But the most important thing is being able to have full control over your collection or your passion, because sometimes it can consume you. And
right. I mean, you already know how I've gone through, though. I mean, having to do, basically, I'm like restarting over. This is like, I like to call it my Seth Rollins era. You know what I mean? Redesign, rebuild, reclaim. And, 80% of my collections, in plural, are in storage. And it's just something I have to get used to until I could get completely back on my feet. This is, this is only like.
I know the feeling. I mean, I moved in a smaller spot. I mean, I lived at my home for 30, almost, pretty much my whole life, and I pretty much was collecting my whole life. So put that in perspective, let that show. And I moved into a smaller area. I can't fit everything here and was in my apartment, So I have to read, like you said, redesign, rebuild, reclaim. Like, I have to really, figure out what I'm going to do in that sense. And I have started selling things. I sold a couple of things here and there, but it's going to take time, man. It's not going to happen.
Rez.
Rome wasn't built in a day. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's definitely.
Hey, Rez, you want to see how lazy I am?
What's up?
Look what I haven't put away
yet. Are you? You wore that back in July when we all met up in freaking the Hall of Fame, and you still have it.
Ask Mighty. It's been hanging right here next to my baseball room.
Oh my God! Speaking of Giannis, you guys heard about Dame, right? Oh my God!
Yeah,
that's a crazy trade.
Man.
That's
crazy.
insane.
I posted a
Mind you,
picture,
this is a team that
I
won a
posted a picture
championship
online
year.
because you know how the NBA, you know how they are. They screenshot.
Yeah.
They screenshot. They Photoshop Dame wearing the Bucks jersey. So I posted a picture of him and Giannis standing together, which is probably not even real, but
I mean, the East is gonna be tough now. Now that game time going over there. I don't know where the Sixers stand in this, Mighty, but
don't worry, he start crying earlier.
Just another year. That's all it is. Go.
Hey,
Phillies,
you got
go
your Phillies
Eagles.
and your Eagles. You're doing fine, buddy.
2 for 3 ain't bad, or 2 for 4.
You got Kelly Green and Red October. You're fine.
That's right.
It's all good, man, because when the time comes, the Niners gonna face the Eagles again. We're gonna have that.
Coming, Rez.
We'll be ready. We have a quarterback now.
Hey, I'll be honest with you guys. I'm excited about those games, but I'll be honest. I think we're going to see what the fucking Dolphins are made of this week. They got Buffalo this week in Buffalo.
Oh, wow.
And Buffalo got their shit together in the last 2 weeks, so they're good.
Well,
that's gonna be a good game to watch.
When you have a final score like again they did with Denver, I mean that's going to be.
Oh, this is going to be a letdown week for them.
How crazy is that, dude? That they could have lined up for the game winning or for the NFL record field goal, and they took a knee just to be for sportsmanship.
Yeah,
they could have hit a field goal to make it 73, which would have broke the record by 1.
Yeah, they still bitched about it.
Wow,
there's still people bitching about they
scored 10 touchdowns, bro.
That's crazy. That's crazy. That's a Madden game right there. That's
what they said. That's what they were saying on one of the analysts on here was like, yo, that's Madden.
I need a rant. I got a rant about this real quick, man. Tell me why freaking 49er shop has not released a Vapor Elite of Christian McCaffrey. It makes no damn sense that you have your running back who's like a stud, and you don't make his jersey into a Vapor Elite, yet you made his jersey when he was in Carolina as an elite.
Well, are you guys wearing it?
What's going on?
Wearing Vapor Elite, or are you guys doing the other one?
No, I can't do I can't do the fuse. I can't.
No, I'm saying are they wearing the fuse? I know the throwback, the one they wore last Thursday, is still Vapor Elite. From what
that's still Vapor Elite. You're talking about with the shadow numbers?
Home and away, are they doing fuse already? Are they wearing the fuse template on the home and away?
I believe they have the fuse, but they didn't release the Vapor Elites to the public. Like it's not available. Not for Christian McCaffrey, but they have Nick Bosa, they have George Kittle, they have Brock. I think they have Fred Warner, but I don't think they have.
Shout out to George Kittle, wrestling fan.
Yes, funny story. George, you know what? I met him, right? I was wearing my Stone Cold Steve Austin hat, and I was wearing his jersey, and I was saying like, I had him sign my Stone Cold hat. It's funny because the first thing he said to me was, "Are you going to AEW?" And I said, "I don't." And I didn't, without even thinking, I said, "I don't have enough PTO." And he kind of just looked at me and was like, "Well, I'm gonna be there. Hopefully, I could see you there."
Oh man!
And
I was having a spot for George Kittle, man. Two of my best friends are 49ers fans, so I was telling like, "Hey, listen, I can't hate on the Niners because of y'all." So I have a soft spot for the Niners, and he's awesome. I love George Kittle. I if I was still wearing
I want to meet him.
If I was like 90s me and wearing like my favorite players outside of my teams, he would definitely be on that top list right there for me to like grab his jersey. So, that's not my thing now. Like, I just collect my teams, and like there's certain ones I kept, like the 94 Dion, the 91 Dion, a couple of other odds and ends, and I basically been setting off the rest of them. But if I was still like working at a sports store wearing a jersey every day, and I'd be wearing players that are not part of my favorite teams, he would definitely be like number one with a bullet, because he's such a cool dude. I mean, for every time I seen him on interviews, man, like I would just talk about wrestling with him the whole time. I wouldn't even talk about football.
No, trust me, he's super. He's super passionate about
Oh,
it. When I went to SmackDown, he was there, and I remember the camera was moving, and they were like, "Oh, everybody give a round of applause for San Francisco 49er tight end George Kittle," and he was there doing the like that. But I saw him every time there was a move, a drop kick, a pin, or whatever. And he was like a fan, like,
reaction.
And it was so cool, man, to see him to do that, and then to meet him.
He's a genuine wrestling fan. He's not just for show.
Yeah, it's cool.
I said, Big Dave. Dave, to answer your question, I think the 73-0 was in the 40s, but I think that may have been a playoff game. I think the regular season record was 72 in 1966. I think that was the last time that somebody went over 70. If I remember right,
I think it was Giants Redskins.
I think the Giants Redskins. Yeah, that one got out of hand. If I remember right, I think that's what they were saying. But 73-0, 73-0. I think the Bears beat the Redskins, or one of them. In the 40s. It was the Redskins beat the
Bears. That was an NFL championship game.
Right. But a regular season game, I think the Dolphins could have got it by one with a field goal.
Yeah, probably would have been the record. But man,
Rez, you cracked me up.
Between that and the Bears Chiefs game, holy shit!
I said you cracked me up earlier. With that little video.
Which one?
You know what I'm talking about, the Kurt Hennig one with the Bears quarterback. Dude, that ball. I was like, oh.
Dude, you know what's so funny about that is just the airtime that when he threw that football, I'm like, is this thing ever going to land? So he threw his own football, literally runs like in slow-mo for at least 30 seconds before catching his own ball, and he basically he threw a touchdown to himself, basically.
Yeah, that was part of the vignettes. I remember he used to throw the basketball backwards and made it.
Killed the cricket?
I found him, but he ran as soon as he hopped away as soon as I went to make a move on.
All right, well, I better end the live now because I don't want to see no dead crickets on my live.
Yeah.
But I want to thank you guys again for tuning in this live. Next week's another live, guys. Stay tuned for that. Definitely, it's going to be October when I do the next live, man. So Halloween live is coming very soon, guys.
Oh boy!
Yeah. I'm growing my beard. I want to dress up as Funhouse Spray.
You see that, Rez? Though, my buddy comes back this week. On the tricycle.
Yep. Mr.
Oh, he's back.
Mr. Billy. Mr. Billy's coming back, man.
He can't. I tell you, he can't keep certain ones down. He'll always find a way to come back.
Yeah, we'll see him, man. Definitely looking forward to that.
Hey, Rez, you got to do us Eagles fans a favor, okay?
What's up?
You got the Cowboys coming up. Can you beat the holy shit out of them, please?
Oh, we got to get through Arizona first. We got to get a Cardinal down.
Oh, I laughed so much when they lost to Arizona this past week. Oh, that was precious.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm a little concerned. I mean, because if the Cardinals can take down the Cowboys like that,
don't worry about them,
bro. I'll work with a Cowboys fan.
But
I just gotta call Stephen A. Smith, and I just gotta talk to him about a couple things about the Cowboys. How Dak is gonna lead them to the promised land, and all that good stuff.
Yeah, but they do this every year. Then they, when it's like I said on my YouTube vid, when the frost starts hitting the ground, that does them in. That's it. They're good in September and October, and then once we get to November, December, Dallas kind of, they go to the divisional round, and then that's as far as they go.
Yeah.
That's as far as they go. It's a never-ending cycle for them. But I do think, though, Rez, we have to get ready because this Eagles 49ers thing
it's
real,
coming.
And it is going to be. I mean, I know the Niners had their deal with Dallas over the years. Oh, I think Dallas can go away for a little bit. I think now it's going to be you and us. That's what I think.
Trust me, Brock Purdy has some business
the
to take.
The storm is coming.
No,
we'll be ready, man. Trust me.
We
want that.
There was, I don't want to keep it. There was a Niner fan who called into local sports talk radio, who called in last year before the NFC title game, and he was running his mouth. And after the Eagles won the game, he didn't call. He even said he would call back. He didn't call. He disappeared. Then
might be one of my best friends.
All of a sudden, he came back this like a week ago.
Might be Johnny H.
And he started talking about the game that's going to be later in the season, during the regular season. And they're like, well, where were you after the game last year? He started making all these different things. He wouldn't even answer the question. He just kept going on about what the Niners are going to do, same as he was talking before the NFC title game. What we're going to do, what the Eagles aren't going to do. And at the end, it was the host was like trying to the host of the show was trying to talk to him. And at the end, the host called him a bitch. Oh, that
listen.
was
If you're gonna sit there and trash talk, you gotta back it up, win or lose. Like,
I mean, look, man. The way, look,
fan. That's a local Dallas fan way of doing things. They never talk after. I didn't hear
the way,
one of them.
yeah. Well, I mean, where's Roberto? It's what's funny is that Roberto was laughing at me when the Niners about the whole Trey Lance situation. Shortly after, Trey Lance gets traded to none other than the Dallas Cowboys.
He's not saying anything about Trey now. He's kind of kept quiet about that.
So I was like,
Roberto doesn't know whether he's a Dallas fan or a Charger fan.
No.
He was having fun then. This year, when the Eagles in 2017 and we smacked Dallas around in Dallas that year, Berto was here, and it was a close game at the first half. The second half was a whole different story.
We were losing 9-7 and won 37-9.
And when that started happening, Berto started talking about the Chargers. And I'm looking at him like, are you a Dallas fan? Oh, no, the Chargers.
Oh, my God.
What's going on here, Nostalgia Boy?
I think he got that star in that.
We love you, Berto.
He got the star in the bowl.
I know. I'm like, what's all this Charger talk all of a sudden? Your team's losing by 20 points, and now you're all Chargers up?
Damn.
What's going on?
He's all bolted
up.
up.
Ship quicker than women and children in the Titanic. Holy crap.
Nah.
Well, it's coming regardless.
It's coming.
When it does, man, I'm telling you, we'll be ready. Brock Purdy ain't going to go out like that.
We'll be ready, too. Right. Well, I hope you don't try to block Hassan Reddick with a backup tight end this time.
All right, fellas. Well, thank you again. Stay tuned again next week, guys. Next Wednesday. Dude, the ticket. Come on.
Thanks as always, Rez. It's good seeing you all. Take care.
Love you guys, man.
Likewise, guys. I'll see you guys hopefully next week. Wednesday, same
back channel, right?
Get that cricket, Slim.